more than self. Yeah, country love and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refined till all success be nobleness and every gain divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing something like this. Listen here. Oh, beauty by far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He gave me crown like good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this. America, I love you, America. You see, my God, he done shed his face on thee. You ought to love him for it, because he crowned that good. He told me he would. Every brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, Lord. I thank you, Lord.
ABC News, I'm Tom Rivers. With just weeks to go before the election, we learned that Russia targeted the president's personal lawyer.
ABC News has confirmed U.S. intelligence officials warned the White House last year that President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, was being targeted by Russian influencers to feed misinformation to the president. That, according to current and former administration officials with knowledge of the briefing. The information in part was related to Giuliani's trips and contacts in Ukraine. The Washington Post first reported that the group warning the White House included Attorney General William Barr, FBI Director Christopher Wray, and White House counsel Pat Cipollone.
ABC's Chuck Severson. The president's re-election campaign and the Republican Party raised a little under $250 million in September, far behind the $383 million Joe Biden raked in last month. Federal planetary scientists predict 2/3 of the U.S. should get a warmer than normal winter because of La Nina. This is ABC News. In a plea deal, Sam Anello will plead guilty to negligent homicide. In the summer of 2019, Anello's 18-month-old granddaughter wriggled her way out of his hands and fell 11 stories to her death on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship in Puerto Rico.
The family's attorney telling ABC News because the plea agreement includes no jail time and no admission of facts, it was decided the plea deal is in the best interests of the family so that they can close this horrible chapter and turn their focus to mourning Chloe.
ABC's Ariel Reshef. Several Democratic senators are demanding answers from Amazon. They've written to the company over alleged monitoring of employees, whether it tries to limit unionization. An Amazon spokesperson says it respects the rights of workers to organize. A woman airing out her house in southern Germany got quite the shock when a 10-inch Chinese mitten crab scurried in through an open door. Police took the unwelcome visitor to a veterinary clinic. I'm Tom Rivers, ABC News.
Ready to take on that painting project? Ask Sherwin-Williams and get 40% off paints and stains with sale prices starting at $23.09 October 16th through 19th. With 40% off our exceptional paints and stains, you can give some color love to your bathroom, living room, or every room in your home. Shop in store or order online for curbside pickup. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
How do smart, hard-working roofing contractors run jobs smoothly, even remotely? They save time with Beacon. The Beacon Pro Plus app features simple online ordering and bill pay. Choose products like the new GAF Timberline HDZ shingles with a 600% larger strike zone nailing area for faster, more accurate installations. Pick the style, color, and quantity and let the app order for you. With Beacon Pro Plus, order round the clock from anywhere. Work smarter. Download the free app at beaconproplus.com.
Good morning. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Central Maine colleges say coronavirus testing efforts are working. Officials from Thomas College and Colby College and UMaine at Farmington have reported low numbers of infections. They also say students and staff are cooperating as they continue testing. Thomas College reports it's done more than 3,500 tests since August, and they've all come back negative. Colby College said out of 47,000 tests, 11 have been positive. A coronavirus outbreak at an L.L. Bean facility is growing. The Maine CDC says it found 10 more cases at the distribution center in Freeport, bringing the total number of known cases so far to 17. The CDC also says there's a new outbreak of 4 cases at the Summer Commons construction site in Sanford. The Maine CDC is also reporting another death, a woman in her 90s from York County. She's the 144th person to die from the virus in Maine. There are also 20 new known cases. 464 people have recovered from the virus, and more than 5,000 people have recovered. Happening today in Norway, a meal giveaway at the Oxford Hills Food Pantry. Meals with food from local farms, gardens, and co-ops will all be given out from 9 to 11 a.m. on Paris Street in Norway. And in sports, a welcome sight at Gillette Stadium yesterday. Patriots players Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore were both back at practice after spending time on the COVID-19 reserve list. Both are healthy and ready to play Sunday when the Patriots host Denver at 1 p.m. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
Take it to Moody's.
you want to get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine votes today. Paid for by AARP.
911, what's your emergency?
I think we're going to need a fire truck over here.
Is something burning, sir?
Yeah, it's Susan Collins. She and her allies have told so many lies about Sarah Gideon, some of us think their pants might combust. You know, liar, liar.
Pants on fire. Yes, good thing you called. Can you see any flames?
Well, right now it's just a whole lot of smoke Susan Collins is using to cover up her record on taxes. She was the key vote to pass Donald Trump's tax plan, you know.
I do remember that.
Yep, Collins gave billions in tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on Maine families.
Any idea why she did that?
Yeah, maybe because the corporate PACs gave her $6 million?
Okay, stand by. I'm contacting dispatch.
They better hurry. Susan Collins' lies are out of control.
Susan Collins, she's not for you anymore.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy with the chance for showers this morning. A steadier rain moves in for this afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the low 60s today. Periods of heavy rain tonight into tomorrow morning. With some snow in the mountains. Rain starts to clear midday and early afternoon tomorrow, but it will be windy with highs just in the low 50s. Mostly sunny near 60 for Sunday.
S word in the forecast for the first time since, I don't know, it's been since the COVID started. Anyhow, we have cloudy skies, 58 in Skowhegan, 60 in Waterville, 60 cloudy skies here in Augusta. That's the deal. You're up to date from Central Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
You think it? He says it.
Yada, yada, yada.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Yes, indeed it is. Good morning. The Mike Violet Show officially in progress for this Thank Buddha. It's Friday. It is Friday, October 16th, 2020. Excuse me. And I am Mike Violet, and this show is brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including expert installations and repairs. 861, excuse me. There we go. 861-7028 online at KennebecElectric.com. You can find us online. Our live stream is at Legacy1160.com. That's powered by the Harry J. Smith Company. And we're on Facebook Live this morning as well as always. On my page, on the John James page. And John will be here from 6 to 9 to continue 6 hours of live local talk. And also on the Legacy page, go to Facebook.com/Legacy1160 WSKW. Facebook Live feed brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. It is a Thank Buddha. It's Friday. So here's the lineup today. The usual suspects. 708. It's Ken and Mike. It's Ken and me doing That's a Wrap. I hate people who refer to themselves in the third person, so I must slap myself. It's the Ken and Mike. I did it again. It's me and Ken doing That's a Wrap at 7:08. Me and Dean doing Contact Sports. Dean Scontras at 7:38. Dean will regale us this morning with the tale of his conversation with his daughter's high school principal. This is going to be fun. 8:08, we'll throw it all away and go to the Toy Department of Life. All sports with Travis Lesargic, the current, the sitting, the standing Maine Sports Writer of the Year. Right now, lots to get to. Let's get cracking.
Hashtag what? They didn't really say that, did they?
Even while I was on vacation, I woke up in the middle of the night at 3:30 in the morning, just concerned about climate change.
It's hashtags and hot takes on the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
All righty then. Item number one, of course, last night was supposed to have been debate number two between the president, President Trump, and his Democrat challenger, Joe Biden. That, of course, not happening because the president wouldn't do a virtual debate. He wanted to do a debate in person. So we had dueling town halls. We had one rump swab fest of butt smooching by Steffi, George Stephanopoulos, to Joe Biden. We did have a debate. It was an unscheduled, unexpected one between President Trump and Savannah Guthrie from NBC News. You see, when you turned on NBC last night looking for a town hall, which is generally, regular people with regular questions, what you got was 20 minutes of Guthrie just grilling the president on masks and white supremacy and the like. Frank Luntz, the pollster, said, how long will NBC go before giving an actual voter time to ask a question? Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary, said about a third of the way into the NBC town hall, and yet no questions from actual real people. Here's one of the exchanges between the president and Savannah on, of course, white supremacy.
You always start off with a question. You didn't ask Joe Biden whether or not he denounces Antifa. I watched him on the same basic show with Lester Holt, and he was asking questions like Biden was a child.
So this is a little bit of a dodge.
Are you listening? I denounce white supremacy.
Extraordinary, but expected, reliable behavior. If you went into this thing last night being either the president or just a casual observer and expected anything else, you aren't paying attention, because you got exactly what you should have gotten from Savannah Guthrie. This is what, for those of you saying, well, her bosses, no, this is what her bosses want her to do. She's part of the team. That's exactly what they want her to do. Meantime, over on ABC, Steffi and Biden talking about things like favorite ice cream colors, favorite,
Well, could say I'm a lousy candidate, and I didn't do a good job.
Actually, let me set this up. Steffi asked him, what do you say to people if you lose? So here we go.
Well, could say I'm a lousy candidate, and I didn't do a good job. But I think, I hope that it doesn't say that we are as racially, ethnically, and religiously at odds with one another as it appears the president wants us to be.
Now, let me ask you this. How quickly in the town hall last night do you think Steffi asked Joe Biden about Hunter and all of the stuff? 10 minutes in, 5 minutes in, 15 minutes in, 20 minutes. How about never? Yep, never. Never. It never came up. The biggest story in the country that we're all talking about, but of course the lamestream media, the drive-bys as Rush calls them, have no interest in this, and certainly have no interest in upsetting the apple cart of their favorite candidate. Can you imagine a world where this were Don Jr.? How quickly would the foaming at the mouth Savannah Guthrie have gotten the question out? Yeah, I know. So yeah, Biden was not asked anything, not one question about Hunter Biden's overseas dealings, either with the Ukraine or China or anything like that. More on that coming up later. Hit the button again, hit the bell again. So, another debate last night here in Maine. The Senate candidates, Sarah Gideon, Susan Collins, Lisa Savage, and Max Lynn, my boy, Mad Max, going at it. Mano, a mano, a womano, a womano, a womano? No, mano, a womano, a womano, a womano. There we go. So they did have an exchange last night on Supreme Court justices. Here are all four of Maine Senate candidates.
And I don't think it's fair to have a vote prior to the election. Now, I do want to mention that my opponent, Sarah Gideon, has an ad on TV that says that I supported 181 far-right judges. Well, I want everyone out there to know that 84% of those judges had bipartisan support.
We do have a judiciary that has been politicized. President Trump had a concerted and successful effort to move the judiciary to the right. He has done that with the help of Mitch McConnell and with the help of Susan Collins. Those 181 judicial nominees that she chose to confirm, some of them were rated unqualified by the American Bar Association, and some of them came with distinct social and political agendas.
Not address the very urgent needs of the American people to get through this pandemic and this economic downturn while trying to ram through a Supreme Court nomination here at the 11th hour of the first term of the current president, I think is a very politicized process and not serving us well.
What I didn't like is I feel Judge Kavanaugh was qualified, but there was so much controversy in that. It really divided the country. It was such an easy time to say, no, thank you, as opposed to Amy Coney Barrett, who I'm the only one up here who supports that. I would have supported Obama's nomination.
Susan Collins, Sarah Gideon, Lisa Savage, Max Lynn, all weighing in on the vacancy in the Supreme Court. By the way, that's the only way that Sarah Gideon will ever appear on the show, considering that her people won't let her on the show. More on that debate and more sound from that debate coming up later on. All right, the man that police believe inserted razor blades into pizza dough balls at the Hannaford supermarket in Saco, back in Maine, expected to make his first court appearance today in Biddeford. Nicholas Mitchell being held York County Jail, arrested Saturday in Dover, a fugitive from justice warrant. Didn't fight the extradition back here to the Pine Tree State. He's charged with 2 felonies, aggravated reckless conduct, and violating the conditions of his release, which prohibited him from engaging in new criminal conduct. That always works. Or possessing dangerous weapons, including razor blades. Now, that's a big story, obviously. Maybe the bigger story is the fact that Hannaford didn't exactly rush to make this public, either by making it public or calling the cops. Now, I have again reached out to the corporate PR person of Hannaford to get her on the program. They say, the company right now says that the decision has been made to leave it to the cops to decide what information should be released, but sure looks like a failure of duty by Hannaford to protect their customers and let their customers know just what was going on here. Again, I'll keep trying, and hopefully we can get that Hannaford corporate PR person on to get an explanation as to why. I mean, blaming it on a computer, is that the ultimate think out or what? Well, it was Fred, the computer. All right, to the tour department of life we go. Last night, yesterday, in the American League Championship Series, the Houston Astros stay alive. In the 9th inning, they get a walk-off home run from Carlos Correa and win it 4-3.
Pitch on the way, and Correa hits it in the air, pretty deep to center, sends back here, Meyer at full. See you later, and see you tomorrow. The Houston Astros win it in the bottom of the 9th on Correa's walk-off homer, 4-3. And there will be a Game 6.
That's the way it sounded on KBME radio in Houston yesterday. The Astros win it by a score of 4-3. And that announcer was not wrong. Game 6 tonight, 6:07. Meantime, the Dodgers, the prohibitive favorite going into the postseason, are now 1 loss away. You see, playoff Clayton Kershaw and playoff Mookie Betts didn't get it done again. The Braves blasting the Dodgers 10-2. Atlanta up 3-1 now. And Game 6 in that series, they'll have tonight at 9:08. Game 5 in that series tonight at 9:08. So the baseball today at 6:07 and at 9:08. And finally this morning, as John Chrysos mentioned in his Real News Update at the top of the hour, both Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore back on the field, practicing yesterday with the New England Patriots for the first time since being given the go-ahead to go after having COVID. The Pats taking on the Denver Broncos this Sunday at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. One other thing from the NFL, running back Le'Veon Bell not long on the free agent market. He was cut by the Jets, released by the Jets the other day. The rich get richer. Kansas City Chiefs signing Bell to a 1-year contract. Yesterday, he will not play in the Chiefs game coming up this weekend. And that, friends, is a very busy hashtags and hot takes for this morning. It's a Thank Buddha. It's Friday edition. Friday, October 16th, 2020. We do this every Monday through Friday right after the 6 o'clock news.
Road to the White House. It was a night of dueling town hall style events. On ABC, Joe Biden talking about what it would say if he lost on November 3rd.
Could say that I'm a lousy candidate and I didn't do a good job. But I hope that it doesn't say that we are as racially, ethnically, and religiously at odds with one another as it appears the president wants us to be.
The president was on NBC, where host Savannah Guthrie challenged him on not replacing the Affordable Care Act when the Republicans had majorities in both houses of Congress.
The promise was repeal and replace.
Look, we should be on the same side. I want it very simple. I'm going to put it very simple. We would like to terminate it, and we would like to replace it with something that's much less expensive and much better. We will always protect people with pre-existing conditions.
The Trump campaign reports $250 million cash on hand heading into the final weeks, $180 million less than Biden. Richard Cantu, ABC News.
How
Hi, it's Joey Joseph from Colebrook Mitsubishi in Skowhegan. While other dealers are just scrambling around trying to drop their prices, increase their services, or offer you more money for your trade-in, Colebrook Mitsubishi has been doing that from day one. And that's precisely how we become the #1 Mitsubishi dealer in all of New England. Whether you've been dreaming of driving a new Mitsubishi Outlander, Eclipse Cross, Outlander Sport, or Mirage, we know that you won't find anyone better to help you out. And don't forget our new Mitsubishis come with the industry's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. See us for details. If you've had credit mishaps, come see us and find out how we can help. Everyone deserves a second chance with a nicer, newer ride. Why not choose a small-town dealer with friendly folks to do business with? Small-town dealer with big-time discounts. We wish everyone good health and happiness. You can shop at our facility or online at ColebrookMitsubishi.com with great confidence. Colebrook Mitsubishi, Route 201 in Skowhegan.
I want to tell you about the incredible items you'll find at Town Line Antiques, but there's no match for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home a little something to decorate a room with style. Add to your collection or share wonderful memories of your past with family and friends. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
And Sarah Gideon for Senator Radio. Take one.
As a lifelong Mainer, I make it my...
Cut. Sarah, you were born in Rhode Island, so let's try take two, okay?
I'm Sarah Gideon, and I don't take corporate money.
Cut. Sarah, the research team says you did take corporate money, even though you tell us you don't. Let's keep going. Take three.
I'm Sarah Gideon, and on taxes...
Cut. Let's not go there. Sarah, you've tried 86 times to raise taxes and fees on everything from health care to heating oil to snowmobiles. So let's just move on to take four.
I'm working every day to...
Cut. You sent the legislature home 6 months ago and haven't done anything since then.
They don't need to know that.
Shut it down. Sarah, let's just toss this thing to someone who actually never stops working for Maine.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
In 2013, we opened the Portland Hunt and Alpine Club.
We're a small bar and restaurant. We have a dozen employees.
When the pandemic forced us to close, we went from being open 7 days a week to literally one day making nothing and dealing with months of having zero revenue for our business at all. We needed a PPP small business loan to keep our employees and just to keep our business.
We feel the responsibility of a dozen employees' livelihoods, their food, their shelter, their families. But Susan Collins wrote a loophole to let corporate chains take the small business loan. And Mitch McConnell included it in the law.
Big corporate chains scarfed up the money before most small businesses like ours had a chance. We feel totally abandoned by her.
They were supposed to be looking out for us.
Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell were just looking out for their big corporate donors and not Mainers.
Change Now is responsible for the content of this ad, paid for by Change Now. Make changenow.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Good morning, I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Central Maine colleges say coronavirus testing efforts are working. Officials from Thomas College and Colby College and UMaine at Farmington have reported low numbers of infections. They also say students and staff are cooperating as they continue testing. Thomas College reports it's done more than 3,500 tests since August, and they've all come back negative. Colby College said out of 47,000 tests, 11 have been positive. A coronavirus outbreak at an L.L. Bean facility is growing. The Maine CDC says it found 10 more cases at the distribution center in Freeport, bringing the total number of known cases so far to 17. The CDC also says there's a new outbreak of 4 cases at the Summer Commons construction site in Sanford. The Maine CDC is also reporting another death, a woman in her 90s from York County. She's the 144th person to die from the virus in Maine. There are also 20 new known cases. 464 people have recovered from the virus, and more than 5,000 people have recovered. Happening today in Norway, a meal giveaway at the Oxford Hills Food Pantry. Meals with food from local farms, gardens, and co-ops will all be given out from 9 to 11 a.m. on Paris Street in Norway. And in sports, a welcome sight at Gillette Stadium yesterday. Patriots players Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore were both back at practice after spending time on the COVID-19 reserve list. Both are healthy and ready to play Sunday when the Patriots host Denver at 1 p.m. I'm CBS 13's John Crisos on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
You can say these 3 things about me or coronavirus. You might have seen me before and not know it. You might know my name but not recognize what I look like. I might be the reason you wear a mask. I'm Mayor Dave Rollins. As Mainers, we've worked hard to fight COVID-19 and we're not done yet. With the upcoming election, learn all the safe ways to vote at AugustaMaine.gov. This public service announcement is from the City of Augusta and every person you know who doesn't want to get COVID-19.
Explore the wild side of Maine in a Jeep from Haight Chrysler Dodge Jeep. And now is the perfect time to get a new Jeep at a great deal during Jeep Adventure Days. Now through the end of October at Haight Chrysler Dodge Jeep, 507 Lakewood Road, Clowes Corner, Madison.
Hi, this is Kim, Scott Searway's daughter. I am so proud of my dad. He has spent his whole life working on behalf of others, stepping up to help people in any way he can. During his law enforcement career and his time in the legislature, he has always worked to build a stronger community, going out of his way to figure out how he can provide people with a hand up to improve their lives. He is a dedicated family man, a community member, and just who we need representing us in the state Senate.
Thank you, Kim. I'm running for re-election this year so I can keep working hard for all of you in this community I care so much about. Having spent nearly 3 decades in law enforcement, keeping our communities safe and supporting our first responders are among my top priorities. I know COVID-19 has impacted all of us, and I'm committed to reviving Maine jobs and livelihoods. I'm Senator Scott Searway, and it would be an honor to have your vote this year.
Paid for and authorized by COA for Senate, Allen Rowe, Treasurer.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine votes today. Paid for by AARP.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy with a chance for showers this morning. A steadier rain moves in for this afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the low 60s today. Periods of heavy rain tonight into tomorrow morning. With some snow in the mountains. Rain starts to clear midday and early afternoon tomorrow, but it will be windy with highs just in the low 50s. Mostly sunny near 60 for Sunday.
Thank you, Lexi. Comfortable morning out there. Cloudy 59 in Skowhegan, 60 in both Waterville and Augusta. And you're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
His mediocre high school academic achievements have prepared him nicely for a career in radio.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Good morning, 636, Mike Violet and the Mike Violet Show. What was that? What did I just say? I'm Mike Violet. This is the Mike Violet Show. That's what I think I wanted. I think I wanted to say that. Good morning. Thank Buddha. It's Friday, 636. The show brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Live stream legacy1160.com. Brought to you by Harry J. Smith Company. Facebook live feed. Moody's Collision Center. 7:08. That's a wrap. Ken Altshuler joins me. 7:38. Contact Sports with Dean Scontris about his daughter's high school principal this morning. 8:08, we go all sports with Travis Lesargic from the Sentinel and KJ. I'm in a hurry because I want to get all the audio in that I can this morning because there's a lot, and I'm going to finish it up with a rather lengthy Tucker segment about Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the Ukrainians, and the Chinese, and I think it's important to get that in, so I'm going to hustle up here. Joe Biden talking about cops. Can't you just shoot him in the leg?
We can do this. You can ban chokeholds. You can, but beyond that, you have to teach people how to de-escalate circumstances. De-escalate. So instead of anybody coming at you, and the first thing you do is shoot to kill, you shoot them in the leg. There's ways you have to do more background checks in terms of whether or not the person coming in passes certain psychological test. And the last thing I'll say, and I'm sorry because it was really, I think, really, really important, is you have to be in a position where you are able to identify the things that have to change. And one of the things that has to change is so many cops get called into circumstances where somebody is mentally off, like what happened not long ago with that guy with the knife. That's why we have to provide within police departments psychologists and social workers to go out with the cops.
All right, that's enough of that. Ask any cop that you know or don't know about shooting them in the leg and how that goes. And banning chokeholds, yeah, it sounds great, but it's necessary. They are necessary tactics in the world of being a cop. So Joe Biden, that was at the debate being asked by actual town hall, real person participant. President Trump on the stump yesterday in North Carolina. Sometimes he can be some kind of funny.
I'll say it. Somebody said to me the other day, "You're the most famous person in the world by far." I said, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." They said, "Yes, you are." I said, "No." They said, "Who's more famous?" I said, "Jesus Christ." I'm not taking any chances. I'm not going to have an argument. Hey, I'm not having any arguments. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to take any chances. I'll give it, I guarantee. And let me look up and I'll say, and it's not even close.
Good finish there, Mr. President. All it makes me think of is the John Lennon line way back when, where he said we're more popular than Jesus. Remember the beating he took from that. So there's that from yesterday. And I think the president is really hitting his stride. I think we're getting 2016 Donald Trump again. He was terrific last night. I thought he was very composed given how Savannah Guthrie treated him last night. But we got all this crap going on with Joe Biden, and more on that from Tucker in a minute. Here's maybe something that didn't age well when it comes to Joe Biden. By the way, his son just introed him there. Hunter introed him.
Well, thank you, you all very much. My dad used to have an expression. He'd say, you know your success as a father when you turn and look at your son or daughter and realize they turned out better than you.
No, that didn't age very well. And of course, Mr. Biden was not asked about Mr. Biden at all last night in the debate. It was all about fluffy stuff. Debate, I said. The debate was on ABC. The debate was on NBC with Savannah Guthrie filling in for Joe Biden against President Trump. By the way, Savannah Guthrie's husband, you'll be shocked to find this out. And don't let this destroy your faith in the unbiased takes of the mainstream media. Guthrie's husband was Vice President Gore's chief of staff during the 2000 presidential election cycle. I know that shocks you. By the way, did you see where Steve Scully, who was supposed to be the moderator of the debate last night from C-SPAN, admitted yesterday that he lied about his Twitter account being hacked in regards to that tweet, that private message sent to Mooch, Anthony Scarp? Yeah, he's a lying, two-faced dog pony soldier, whatever Biden said. So yeah, the thing, I sound like Biden. It's rubbing off on me. Pretty soon I'm going to start saying this.
By the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn.
I promise I won't let that happen to me. So the town hall on ABC was exactly what you thought it was going to be. Yeah. Rump swabbing, ass kissing of the highest order. It really was an embarrassment to those people who appreciate balance and fairness in the news. If you're NBC, however, this is exactly what you wanted Savannah Guthrie to do last night. The president denounces white supremacy. Savannah Guthrie follows up by saying the president is dodging. Oh, you want to hear that? Here we go.
Question. I denounce white supremacy. And frankly, you want to know something? I denounce Antifa, and I denounce these people on the left that are burning down our cities that are run by Democrats who don't know what they're...
So right after that, I couldn't find the whole cut. She says, it sounds like you're dodging. Why is Savannah Guthrie? Yeah, because that's what she was brought there to do. I mean, this was a poorly disguised ambush. That's for sure. Greg Gutfeld said, Savannah is the new Karen, with apologies to all Karens. She absolutely nailed it. But Trump fought back, and he did terrific. He was reasoned. He was calm. He was rational. He was Trump the way we want him to be. Okay. And lastly, before we get to Tucker, last night, the senatorial debate here in Maine between Senator Susan Collins, her Democratic challenger, Sarah Gideon, Lisa Savage of the Green, Max Lynn, the Independent. They asked them, Jennifer Rooks, the moderator, asked them about COVID relief. Here they all are.
I think about $2,000 a month would be reasonable. Certainly, it wouldn't meet most of our household expenses that are here at this debate tonight.
You mean $2,000 per person or per household?
Per household.
Thank you.
We're the most influential state in America right now, and a wasted vote for Sarah Susan, Maine gives that up. So I would negotiate with whatever party's in office to get that $5,000 to every Maine family.
I think that I would vote for anything to get the negotiations started. We need to get the negotiations underway and get relief to American families and to our healthcare providers, municipalities, schools.
We're 5 months, more than 5 months after the last COVID relief legislation has come forward, as states, as municipalities struggle to keep services running, and as individuals worry about whether they're going to be able to stay in their homes, you are deflecting on the job that is not being done.
All right, so there. Pretty spirited debate. I didn't see any of it. I've watched some of the highlights, listened to some of them this morning. Pretty spirited debate last night. I think it's the last one before we move on. All right, because I want to get this Tucker piece in. Here you go. Tucker Carlson about Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, the Ukraines, and everything else. Whoops. What's going on there? Hang on. Get that out of the way. Get this back up. All right, here we go.
Now, as you would expect, there's an election coming 3 weeks away. Everyone wants to get a blow in before it's too late. But not everything you hear is untrue, and not every story is complex. At the heart of the growing Biden-Ukraine scandal, for example, is a very straightforward question. Did Joe Biden subvert American foreign policy in order to enrich his own family? In 2015, Joe Biden was the sitting vice president of the United States. Included in his portfolio were U.S. relations with the nation of Ukraine. So at that moment, Vice President Joe Biden had more influence over the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian economy than any other person on the globe outside of Eastern Europe. Biden's younger son, Hunter, knew that. He hoped to get rich from his father's influence. Emails published yesterday by the New York Post, documents apparently taken directly from Hunter Biden's own laptop, tell some of that story. Tonight, we'd like to bring you some more detail. We have another batch of emails, some exclusive to the show. We believe they also came from Hunter Biden's laptop. We can't prove that they did. We haven't examined that computer. But every detail that we could check, including Hunter Biden's personal email address at the time, suggests they are authentic. As we told you last night, if these emails are fake, this is the most complex and sophisticated hoax in history. It almost seems beyond human capacity. The Biden campaign clearly believes these emails are real. They have not said otherwise. We sent the body of them to Hunter Biden's attorney and never heard back. So with that in mind, here's what we have learned. On November 2nd, 2015 at 4:30 in the afternoon, a Burisma executive called Vadim Pozharsky emailed Hunter Biden and his business partner, Devon Archer. The purpose of the email, Pozharsky explains, is to, quote, be on the same page about our final goals, including but not limited to a concrete course of action. So what did Burisma want exactly? Well, good PR, for starters. The executive wanted, quote, high-ranking U.S. officials to express their, quote, positive opinion of Burisma. And then he wanted the administration to act on Burisma's behalf. Quote, the scope of work should also include organization of a visit of a number of widely recognized and influential current and or former U.S. policymakers to Ukraine in November, aiming to conduct meetings with and bring positive signals and message of support to Burisma. The goal, the executive explained, was to, quote, close down any cases / pursuits against the head of Burisma in Ukraine. So that couldn't be clearer what they wanted. Burisma wanted Hunter Biden's father to get their company out of legal trouble with the Ukrainian government. And that's exactly what happened. 1 month later to the day, on December 2nd, 2015, Hunter Biden received a notice from a Washington PR firm called Blue Star Strategies. Blue Star Strategies apparently had been hired to lobby the administration on Ukraine. This show has exclusively obtained that email. Hello all, it began. This morning, the White House hosted a conference call regarding the vice president's upcoming trip to Ukraine. Attached is a memo from the Blue Star Strategies team with the minutes of the call, which outlined the trip's agenda and addressed several questions regarding U.S. policy toward Ukraine, end quote. So here you have a PR firm involved in an official White House foreign policy call. How could that happen? Good question, but it worked. Days later, Joe Biden flew to Ukraine and did exactly what his son wanted. The vice president gave a speech slamming the very Ukrainian law enforcement official who was tormenting Burisma, the exact guy. If the Ukrainian government doesn't fire its top prosecutor, a man called Viktor Shokin, Biden explained, the administration withhold $1 billion in American aid. Now, Ukraine is a poor country, so they had no choice but to obey. Biden's bullying worked. He bragged about it later.
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Now, Joe Biden gave that speech before the Council on Foreign Relations, so we pretend as if what he said was normal and officially authorized. This is how things are done. That's not true at all. This is bizarre. And the amazing thing about the video you just saw is that no one in that audience of Harvard graduates and other assorted smart people asked the glaringly obvious question. Why was the vice president of the United States threatening a tiny country like Ukraine to fire its top prosecutor? That doesn't seem like a vice president's role. Well, now we know why. Viktor Shokin has signed an affidavit affirming that he was in fact investigating Burisma at the moment Joe Biden had him removed. Shokin said that before he was fired, administration officials pressured him into dropping the case against Burisma. He would not do that, so Joe Biden canned him. That's how things really work in Washington. Your son's got a lucrative consulting deal with Ukrainian energy company. You tailor American foreign policy to help make him rich. Our foreign policy. Even at the State Department, possibly the most cynical agency in government, this seemed shockingly brazen. During the impeachment proceedings last fall, a State Department official called George Kent said it was widely known in Washington that the Bidens were up to something sleazy in Ukraine. Quote, I was on a call with somebody on the vice president's staff, and I raised my concerns that I had heard that Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma. This, George Kent noted, could create a perception of a conflict of interest. So how did the vice president's office respond to this concern? Well, according to George Kent, quote, the message that I recall hearing back was that the vice president's son, Beau, was dying of cancer, and there was no further bandwidth to deal with family-related issues at the time. Family-related issues. This was America's foreign policy being tailored to Joe Biden's son. 5 years later, Joe Biden still has not been forced to explain why he fired Ukraine's top prosecutor at precisely the moment his son was being paid to get him to fire Ukraine's top prosecutor. Nor has Joe Biden addressed whether or not he personally benefited from the Burisma contract. But there are tantalizing hints. Last night, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani published what he said was yet another email from Hunter Biden's laptop. It's a note to one of his children. It's sad and it's fraught and it's personal, and we're not going to quote it at length. But at the end, there's this, quote, don't worry. Unlike your grandfather, I won't make you give me half your salary. What does that mean exactly? Well, we don't know. There may be more detail in the laptop, but unfortunately, we don't have access to that. But the question remains, how has Joe Biden lived in extravagance all these years on a government salary? No one has ever answered that question, and the tech monopolies are working hard to make certain no one ever does. This morning, the New York Post published another story based on the emails. This one describes a business venture Hunter Biden was working on in China. The email reads this way, quote, at the moment, there's a provisional agreement that the equity will be distributed as follows. 10 held by Hunter for the big guy. The big guy. Is the big guy Joe Biden? If so, how much did Joe Biden get? And how much of that came from the communist Chinese government? Those are real questions. This man could be elected president in 3 weeks. But Twitter doesn't want you to wonder. It won't allow you to ask those questions. Twitter restricted the New York Post story as, quote, unsafe, like it was a lawn dart or a defective circular saw. And that was enough for the Biden campaign. It was enormously useful. All day today, they deflected questions about Joe Biden's subversion of our country's foreign policy by invoking Twitter's ban on the New York Post story. So the tech monopolies censor information to help their candidate. The candidate uses that censorship to dismiss the story. One hand washes the other. Watch.
Well, look, I think Twitter's response to the actual article itself makes clear that these, purported allegations are false and they're not true. And glad to, see, social media companies like Twitter taking responsibility to limit misinformation.
You want to know what corruption looks like? That's a term that we throw around a lot. You just saw what corruption looks like. My campaign donors control the media. They're shutting down the public's access to the information that criticizes me. The fact they're doing that gives me justification not to address your question about that information. That's what corruption looks like, when billionaires shut down legitimate questions about a candidate 3 weeks before Election Day. That's corruption. It's also almost perfectly circular reasoning. And to illustrate that, Twitter and Facebook censored the New York Post story before they had any reason whatsoever to suspect it wasn't true. Even now, they're not really claiming it's a hoax because it's not a hoax. In minutes, they simply shut down this country's centuries-long tradition of a free press, and they did it for purely partisan reasons. They didn't pretend otherwise. Now, it doesn't matter who you plan to vote for the first Tuesday in November. You should be terrified. Democracies cannot exist and never will be able to exist without the free flow of information. That is a prerequisite. And without it, we're done. But companies like Facebook and Google and Twitter do not care because they don't believe in democracy. They worship power.
I'm going to leave that there because there is a lot of it left and I don't have time to run all of it. It is, of course, available by going on YouTube, typing in Tucker Carlson Tonight, or it's on Facebook or anything like that. This, again, not even brought up last night at all to Joe Biden. Absolutely no mention of it whatsoever. Just an ass kiss fest. That's all it was, but that's what we expected it was going to be. All right. Just enough time here in the hour for the latest edition of Swing Hard, Turn Left from Ethan Strimling. Today's episode titled, Why Collins Won't Say Who She Supports for President. Here's Ethan Strimling.
Let's talk for a minute about what's causing the abject fear in Susan Collins to simply say who it is she's going to vote for president. This is Ethan Strimling with Swing Hard, Turn Left. At this point, I honestly think she is not going to vote for Donald Trump. I think that she despises the man just like a majority of Maine people despise him and a majority of the American people despise him. This is why he's going to lose Maine, and he will lose the popular vote across this country by perhaps an unprecedented number. I mean, you could say the reason she won't is because Trump and his allies, Mitch McConnell, et cetera, are spending tens of millions of dollars to get her reelected. Yeah, sure, that's an obvious answer. But I honestly believe that those folks would say to her, if it's a matter of whether or not you're going to keep your seat, stand up and say you're not voting for Trump. No, I actually think the reason that she won't say that she's not going to vote for Donald Trump is because of the rank and file, because of the rabid Republicans on the ground. I mean, we've seen it in Maine before. Olympia Snowe was booed at a Republican convention for barely stepping out of line. So while Susan Collins might be willing to throw out a statement, that Mitch McConnell doesn't love, she simply doesn't have the courage to stand up to the rank and file. The rank and file that needs to be stood up to most. This is Ethan Strimling with Swing Hard, Turn Left.
ABC Entertainment News.
A treat for West Wing fans. The cast of the critically acclaimed political drama reuniting for a stage version of the season 3 episode Hartsfield's Landing. Star Richard Schiff telling me why this episode was picked.
This episode is an ode to what a beautiful thing it is that we in this country get to exercise our votes.
The West Wing special is out now on HBO Max. Also out today, another Aaron Sorkin project, The Trial of the Chicago 7.
This is what revolution looks like.
The film about the protests outside the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in 1968 is getting rave reviews and is being seen as an Oscar contender. And tonight on ABC, the new season of Shark Tank debuts. No name reveal just yet, but Nicki Minaj has shared that the baby she gave birth to last month was a boy, and she says she's madly in love with him. This while rapper Cardi B says she and her estranged husband Offset are back together. And happy birthday today to John Mayer. The Grammy-winning singer-songwriter is 43. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine votes today. Paid for by AARP.
How do you think things in Washington are going these days? No, it's not a trick question. What do you really think? As Washington has failed, Speaker of the House Sarah Gideon has helped bring Democrats and Republicans together to protect Maine people. When Washington threatened to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Sarah Gideon successfully fought to make sure 230,000 Mainers with pre-existing conditions would not lose their coverage. When Washington failed to control skyrocketing prescription drug costs, in Maine, Sarah Gideon cracked down on companies who jacked up prices. And when Washington passed trillion-dollar tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on middle-class families, Sarah Gideon wrote the first direct property tax relief bill to pass in years, working together to get things done for Mainers. That's what Sarah Gideon's always done, and that's what she'll do in the Senate.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
I want to tell you about all of the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no substitute for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now's the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share wonderful memories of your past with family and friends. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Tom Rivers. The presidential candidates in dueling televised town halls last night. President Trump was evasive about when he was tested for COVID, and he refused to disavow the QAnon conspiracy theory.
The president walked in behind double digits in the polls, and the president spent much of his time on defense, defending his handling of not only the pandemic, issues like healthcare, as well as the economy. What we did not hear was the president talking about his rival, Joe Biden.
ABC's Rachel Scott. During a separate town hall, Joe Biden acknowledged parts of the 1994 crime bill were a mistake, and he said he'll soon clarify his stance on expanding the Supreme Court. The coronavirus crisis appears to be entering a dangerous new phase, with cases across the country surging. Over 63,000 new cases on Thursday, the largest single-day total since late July, according to the COVID Tracking Project. Some hospitals in Kansas City say they're bursting at the seams. This is ABC News. YouTube, now the latest major site to crack down on the QAnon conspiracy theory, now says it will start pulling videos targeting individuals or groups with conspiracy theories that are used to justify violence. Facebook and Twitter have already taken moves to ban similar content. A painting stolen by the Nazis is now making its way home nearly 90 years later.
Among the more than 1,000 pieces of art and artifacts seized from a prominent Jewish family in Berlin who became early targets of the Nazi Party was a painting by American artist Gary Melchers called Winter. That painting was recently discovered at a small museum in upstate New York and returned after 87 years.
The Mossa family lost nearly everything because they were Jews.
U.S. Attorney for New York's Northern District, Antoinette Bacon, says the FBI's program dedicated to returning stolen art works.
And Winter is one of the latest examples of the FBI's success.
The Nazis looted the Mossa family assets when Hitler assumed power in Germany in 1933. Todd Ant, ABC News.
I'm Tom Rivers, ABC News.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car, and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Good morning. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Central Maine colleges say coronavirus testing efforts are working. Officials from Thomas College and Colby College and UMaine at Farmington have reported low numbers of infections. They also say students and staff are cooperating as they continue testing. Thomas College reports it's done more than 3,500 tests since August, and they've all come back negative. Colby College said out of 47,000 tests, 11 have been positive. A coronavirus outbreak at an L.L. Bean facility is growing. The Maine CDC says it found 10 more cases at the distribution center in Freeport, bringing the total number of known cases so far to 17. The CDC also says there's a new outbreak of 4 cases at the Summer Commons construction site in Sanford. The Maine CDC is also reporting another death, a woman in her 90s from York County. She's the 144th person to die from the virus in Maine. There are also 20 new known cases. 464 people have recovered from the virus, and more than 5,000 people have recovered. Happening today in Norway, a meal giveaway at the Oxford Hills Food Pantry. Meals with food from local farms, gardens, and co-ops will all be given out from 9 to 11 a.m. on Paris Street in Norway. And in sports, a welcome sight at Gillette Stadium yesterday. Patriots players Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore were both back at practice after spending time on the COVID-19 reserve list. Both are healthy and ready to play Sunday when the Patriots host Denver at 1 p.m. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Hi, it's Joey Joseph from Colebrook Mitsubishi in Skowhegan. While other dealers are just scrambling around trying to drop their prices, increase their services, or offer you more money for your trade-in, Colebrook Mitsubishi has been doing that from day one. And that's precisely how we've become the #1 Mitsubishi dealer in all of New England. Whether you've been dreaming of driving a new Mitsubishi Outlander, Eclipse Cross, Outlander Sport, or Mirage, we know that you won't find anyone better to help you out. And don't forget our new Mitsubishis come with the industry's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. See us for details. If you've had credit mishaps, come see us and find out how we can help. Everyone deserves a second chance with a nicer, newer ride. Why not choose a small-town dealer with friendly folks to do business with? Small-town dealer with big-time discounts. We wish everyone good health and happiness. You can shop at our facility or online at ColebrookMitsubishi.com with great confidence. Colebrook Mitsubishi, Route 201 in Skowhegan.
2020, it's been a tough year and tough to celebrate 25 years in the restaurant business. Hi, this is Brian Langley, chef owner of the Union River Lobster Pot in Ellsworth. When the pandemic hit, we thought that our 25th year might have to be our last. But thankfully, all small businesses had a champion in Maine Senator Susan Collins. Senator Collins immediately went to work and authored the Paycheck Protection Plan. Without question, there was no way we could have survived 2020 without it. Here in our area alone, over 5,000 PPP loans were written. Senator Collins' legislation saved our business and countless others, and the jobs that go with them. So for that reason alone, I'll be voting for Susan Collins. Too many politicians only talk. Senator Susan Collins produces results. Next year, the Union River Lobster Pot will open for its 26th year because of Susan Collins. Susan Collins deserves my vote and your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
I'm Susan Collins, and I've approved this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
So what did State House Speaker, millionaire Sarah Gideon, do when the coronavirus hit Maine? Here's Maine State Senator Brad Farron, who served with Gideon in the legislature.
Sarah Gideon shut down the legislature back in mid-March, and since then she's been absent from the job. She's more concerned about her campaign efforts than dealing with the issues that regular Mainers face every day. She's been out campaigning while Mainers are left with uncertainties with the pandemic, with childcare, with schools opening up. I represent one of the poorest districts in the state of Maine. Sarah Gideon took an oath to help Mainers, and since the pandemic hit, she's been missing in action and has not lived up to that oath.
When the coronavirus hit, Sarah Gideon closed the legislature and became a full-time campaigner, while her husband grabbed $1 million in federal coronavirus funds. Gideon cares about herself, not you. Say no to out-of-touch millionaire Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy with a chance for showers this morning. A steadier rain moves in for this afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the low 60s today. Periods of heavy rain tonight into tomorrow morning. With some snow in the mountains. Rain starts to clear midday and early afternoon tomorrow, but it will be windy with highs just in the low 50s. Mostly sunny near 60 for Sunday.
Thank you, Lexi. Cloudy 60 in Skowhegan, 61 in Waterville, cloudy 60 in Augusta. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
It's like your father is on the radio every day.
When I was 17, I drank some very good beer. I drank some very good beer I purchased with a fake ID. My name was Brian McKee.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Yes, indeed it is. Good morning, 7-Eleven. Thank Buddha. It's Friday. We honor Buddha. Boy, am I from Maine or what? In Augusta, we honor Buddha. It's a thank Buddha. It's Friday. We honor Buddha every single Friday. And actually, in a moment, we're going to speak to the man who came up with that phrase. Let's see. I said the time. The date is Friday, October 16th, in case you did not know. Mike Violet Show, brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Live stream, legacy1160.com, brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company. Our Facebook live feed brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. And here is the man who does have the patent on the phrase, thank Buddha, it's Friday. It's Ken Altshuler. It's time for That's a Wrap. Good morning, Ken.
May I take this opportunity to personally and emphatically thank the Buddha for bringing us to this particular Friday.
It warms my heart to hear you say that. Memories, man. Misty watercolored memories of the way we were and now are again.
You know, I never said that after you left. I never did that on Friday.
Well, thanks, man.
That was a Ken and Mike thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. I mean, you came up with it, and there are tears coming down my cheek right at the moment.
Well, my greatest moment was really when I said at 7:47 was Jumbo Jet.
Yes.
You had not heard that. You had heard everything.
I had not heard that weenie DJ saying as of yet. Correct.
You know, when I can teach the master something, when the pupil can teach the master something, it's a moment to behold.
Oh, you are a sweet talker, are you not? All right. So, what did you watch last night? Did you watch hold on? Did you watch the town hall between George Stephanopoulos, and Joe Biden, or did you watch the debate between Donald Trump and Samantha Guthrie?
I watched parts of both.
Okay. Thoughts, reflections?
I thought to myself, if you're a Trump supporter, which one are you going to watch? And if you're a Biden supporter, which one are you going to watch? And I think for the most part, Trump supporters watch Trump and Biden supporters watch Biden, which means it's not going to really influence anyone. Although I did like Samantha Guthrie.
Well, yes, because she's a better debater than Joe Biden is.
Yeah. Well, Samantha Guthrie is not a liberal by any stretch of the
Ken, stop it.
She isn't. She's actually fairly conservative.
No, she's not. Her husband used to be Al Gore's chief of staff, for God's sakes. Get out of here.
Well, so did you, James Carville and Mary Madeline, how about them?
What, they're not supporting Joe Biden and not...
I don't think anybody with an IQ over 100, with all due respect, Mike Violet, is supporting Donald Trump.
Now that's them's fighting words right there. We're going to have to step outside.
All right. So is Osama bin Laden alive, Mike?
He is dead. We think, although we never saw the body. I would have preferred to see the body. But Obama told me he was dead.
So if Donald Trump will not say, yes, QAnon is nuts and Osama bin Laden is dead, doesn't he sound like somebody's crazy uncle?
I don't think it's Samantha Guthrie's job to say whether he is a crazy uncle. She is the moderator of a town hall. All right. The town hall I thought was supposed to be people, real Americans asking the president questions. Instead, we got 20 minutes of her literally debating the president. I didn't hear George Stephanopoulos debate debate Biden last night.
Well, because Biden answered questions. He didn't duck the questions.
Oh, God.
He's long-winded. I'll give you that. Okay. I mean, and as one of Trump's campaign managers said, Joe Biden, it was like watching Mr. Rogers. And so, isn't that the contrast between Donald Trump and Joe Biden?
Well, for instance, let me give you a for instance. Okay. Stephanopoulos last night asked him about fracking. Now, I've counted them. I have 7 different audio cuts here from the last 2 years of Joe Biden saying that he is absolutely going to ban fracking, and I have his vice presidential candidate saying the same thing. He flat out lied there last night and said he would not ban fracking, and Steffi didn't follow up and say, Joe, we have numerous instances of you saying otherwise. What's the deal? That's what I'm talking about.
Well, okay, I get your point. People do change their position. I think that for example, the court stacking. I think that I think he was challenged on that. I don't think he gave a very good answer on that. I'm not sure why he doesn't just say he wouldn't do it, because he can do what he wants after he gets elected, no matter what he says beforehand. Right? So I don't know why he just doesn't say I don't. I mean, he kind of said I don't think it's a great idea. The court stacking is not going to happen, even if the Democrats want that to happen.
I know. And can you agree with me maybe here that what Donald Trump is trying to do with Amy Coney Barrett is not court stacking, it's replacing an open seat?
Well, no, because he said
no, but I know that, but I mean in the context of the here and now.
Yeah.
He's not stacking the court, he's replacing an open seat.
Oh, he's not stacking the court at all.
Right.
No, the stacking the court would be the Democratic response to the Republicans pushing through a nominee in the last year of a presidential election, which, as you know, I think that the president's entitled to nominate somebody until the day he leaves office. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, we'd like you to take Susan Collins' Senate seat for the rest of the year. Would that be okay?
And Susan Collins, of course, does not believe that the Senate should confirm a Supreme Court nominee.
And she reiterated that last night during the debate on public television. You didn't catch any of that, right?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not.
I had Mad Max Lynn on the show yesterday, and he stuck to the issues last night. I was disappointed because I looked to him to come up with some pithy stuff like this.
Request denied.
Or stuff like this.
Bullshit.
But nothing last night.
Have you changed your vote yet?
I'll vote him second. I was going to go Lisa Savage second, but I'll go Mad Max second now.
So Lisa Savage will be first.
I'll bet she's going to be second on yours, right?
I already voted.
Yep.
I voted for, I know this, sit down for this, I voted for Sarah Gideon.
Yep.
I did not do a second choice.
You did not, just Gideon.
Yeah, because I don't have a second.
Well, she's one of your peers. She's a rich person from Freeport, just like you are.
See, ranked choice voting, I don't know if you know this.
You dodged that
ranked
question.
Voting gives you the ability to vote for a second, third, or fourth choice, or to not vote for a second choice.
Right. So it was Gideon all the way.
That constitutional right.
All right. How about for president?
I voted for Joe Biden.
Aha.
I did not put a second choice.
Okay. All right. So Biden, let me guess, you did not vote for Dr. Jay Allen in the first CD.
No, he looks too, he's a very smart guy. I don't think he's a bad guy, but, have you seen him on Zoom? He does not look very good.
He's got yellow teeth. I have a teeth thing. I don't know about you, Ken. You don't have yellow teeth. I don't like yellow teeth.
No, particularly for a doctor.
Yeah. It's like, I can buy Crest whitening toothpaste even on my salary. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Dental hygiene is important.
Yeah. I don't even want to get into flossing or anything like that. Well, I have not voted yet. I'm going to have to vote absentee because I've got to be here in Augusta on Election Day in order to get ready for our coverage that night. So I am going to have to vote absentee, but I have this thing about doing it as close to the election as I possibly can. So I probably won't pass my ballot in until that Friday.
Which, of course, makes no sense to me because you know exactly whom you're going to vote for.
Yeah, and it's not based on who I obviously know I'm going to vote for. So does everyone else. It's just that I have this thing about voting about passing it in as close as I can to Election Day.
Well, you got to make sure, because with all these ballots with Donald Trump's name found in the trash.
Right. I don't want it to end up in the trash. I'm going to hand deliver it to the city clerk's office in Portland if I can do that.
And how are you voting on A, B, C, D, and E?
Oh, I'll vote no on all of them just because I'm the contrarian that I am.
Well, I'm not a contrarian, and I would have voted against A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even remember which ones are which, but there's the rent control, there's the minimum wage, and then there's Airbnb and all that stuff. And,
yeah, it's all crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they literally want to, is it the minimum wage? They wanted to get it to $22 an hour.
Although, isn't the Airbnb pro Airbnb?
I don't know. I'd have to, now you're going to make me have to look it up.
I think the Airbnb is to allow people to do Airbnb without Portland intervention. I would have voted. I mean, I may have voted for that because
if that's the case, then I would vote that way.
Yeah, but I'm not, as you know, I don't live in Portland, so I didn't really care.
Right. I'm actually going to have to read the ballot question. So let me ask you, are you aware of all of the stuff involving Hunter Biden and the old man?
You mean the old stuff, the new stuff?
No, the newest stuff that came out in the New York Post and the last couple of days here about Ukraine, China, paying the father 50%, paying Joe 50% of whatever Hunter Biden got, and the like.
I'm aware of those allegations. And by the way, they're not really new allegations. Those things came out in the past, too.
Yeah, but these are new in that there are actually emails from Hunter Biden's email account showing his email address in what is known to be with things dropped like I've got to pay the old man 50% and so forth. So that's new.
So don't you think 2 or 3 weeks before, we've been talking about Hunter Biden for how long?
Oh, a long time.
Long time. So 2 or 3 weeks before the election, here we go with new allegations. You don't find that suspect?
Oh, I think the timing is part of the thing. Yeah, I think there have been things that have been known for quite some. I think certain people have been waiting for certain times.
Right.
This is nothing.
I think
is a coincidence in politics, Ken. You know that.
Right. I think Hunter Biden is a dead issue. I don't think it's going to sway any votes. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it would look, I agree with you, and I think this is fair game, and I think Biden should have been asked about it last night. He wasn't in 90 minutes. At least ask him about it. But anyway, that said, our mind's going to get changed here on October 16th by this, unless we get pictures of Joe Biden with circus midgets. I don't think so.
I agree. Now, we have one more debate, and by the way, Donald Trump should have debated Joe Biden last night rather than done the town hall. He's got to catch up. If you believe the polls, he's behind. He's got to catch up. He's got everything to lose and nothing to gain by not doing the debate. I don't understand why he didn't do it.
Well, I will say this. In the debate he had with Savannah Guthrie last night, if that were the Trump that would show up at the debate with Biden, I'd be very happy because I actually thought he was very good last night.
So there you go. So that's the contrast he's got to draw. We don't know how Joe Biden would be, but we'll have one more opportunity. But I think it's going to be, by the time they debate again, I think that, first of all, half the people in America will have already voted. And I don't think anybody's good. I think everybody's made up their mind by now.
Yeah, pretty much. So what's on the Altshuler-Doyle docket for the weekend?
So I hate to say this. It's going to pour tomorrow, as you know.
Yeah.
Because you know the weather forecast. I think it's time to start bringing in the lawn furniture.
Oh, wow. That's a real farewell to fall right there.
It is a very sad day when I do that. And I may have to start the leaf blowing. It may happen on Sunday.
Now, you've already, the wood is in, right? You did not hire the Amish this year, right?
Wood is in, all stacked, safe and sound in the Altshuler-Doyle garage.
I don't even want to ask you if your snowblower starts. We don't want to go there yet. It's too soon.
But no, it's warm enough so it'll start.
There's supposed to be snow up country in Rangeley and such this weekend. Maybe you could haul it up there and maybe try it out.
You know what I think about up north stuff.
I know you do. You avoid it at all costs.
I don't care if it snows in Canada. What
That's
do I care?
a wrap with Ken Altshuler. Ken, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Wednesday.
You too. Always great chatting with you.
All right, bye-bye. There he is. That's a wrap on That's a Wrap. Ken Altshuler. 7:25, Contact Sports. Dean Scontris with a story of his conversation with his daughter's high school principal. Oh, to be a fly on the wall for that. Well, we're going to get the next best thing, which is a rundown of how it went with Dino. That's coming up next. I'm Mike Pilot on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
Take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Hi, this is David Neely, former publisher of Maine Seniors Magazine, and I'm pleased to share that the Senior Planning Center is assisting seniors in this time of need. The Medicare Savings Program has increased its income guidelines by 10%, and many Medicare beneficiaries will qualify. You may also qualify for enhanced coverage on a special needs plan.
Due to COVID-19, we are prepared to meet with our clients in person following safety protocols or by phone. Call 223-6565 today. That's 223-6565.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine Votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine Votes today. Paid for by AARP.
911, what's your emergency?
I think we're going to need a fire truck over here.
Is something burning, sir?
Yeah, it's Susan Collins. She and her allies have told so many lies about Sarah Gideon, some of us think their pants might combust. You know, liar, liar.
Pants on fire. Yes, good thing you called. Can you see any flames?
Well, right now it's just a whole lot of smoke Susan Collins is using to cover up her record on taxes. She was the key vote to pass Donald Trump's tax plan, you know?
I do remember that.
Yep, Collins gave billions in tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on Maine families.
Any idea why she did that?
Yeah, maybe because the corporate PACs gave her $6 million?
Okay, stand by. I'm contacting dispatch.
They better hurry. Susan Collins' lies are out of control.
Susan Collins, she's not for you anymore.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
I want to tell you about the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no match for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now is the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home a little something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share a wonderful memory of your past with friends and family. Townline Antiques open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Good morning. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Central Maine colleges say coronavirus testing efforts are working. Officials from Thomas College and Colby College and UMaine at Farmington have reported low numbers of infections. They also say students and staff are cooperating as they continue testing. Thomas College reports it's done more than 3,500 tests since August, and they've all come back negative. Colby College said out of 47,000 tests, 11 have been positive. A coronavirus outbreak at an L.L. Bean facility is growing. The Maine CDC says it found 10 more cases at the distribution center in Freeport, bringing the total number of known cases so far to 17. The CDC also says there's a new outbreak of 4 cases at the Summer Commons construction site in Sanford. The Maine CDC is also reporting another death, a woman in her 90s from York County. She's the 144th person to die from the virus in Maine. There are also 20 new known cases. 464 people have recovered from the virus, and more than 5,000 people have recovered. Happening today in Norway, a meal giveaway at the Oxford Hills Food Pantry. Meals with food from local farms, gardens, and co-ops will all be given out from 9 to 11 a.m. on Terrace Street in Norway. And in sports, a welcome sight at Gillette Stadium yesterday. Patriots players Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore were both back at practice after spending time on the COVID-19 reserve list. Both are healthy and ready to play Sunday when the Patriots host Denver at 1 p.m. I'm CBS 13's John Crisos on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
So what did State House Speaker, millionaire Sarah Gideon, do when the coronavirus hit Maine? Here's Maine State Senator Brad Farron, who served with Gideon in the legislature.
Sarah Gideon shut down the legislature back in mid-March, and since then she's been absent from the job. She's more concerned about her campaign efforts than dealing with the issues that regular Mainers face every day. She's been out campaigning while Mainers are left with uncertainties with the pandemic, with childcare, with schools opening up. I represent one of the poorest districts in the state of Maine. Sarah Gideon took an oath to help Mainers, and since the pandemic hit, she's been missing in action and has not lived up to that oath.
When the coronavirus hit, Sarah Gideon closed the legislature and became a full-time campaigner, while their husband grabbed $1 million in federal coronavirus funds. Gideon cares about herself, not you. Say no to out-of-touch millionaire Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Interested in cutting your fuel oil bills by as much as 40%? Then call your Energy Kinetic System 2000 premier dealer, Pools, Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, and ask about the System 2000. You can save up to 40% off your heating cost and have all the hot water you need with the System 2000 from Energy Kinetics. Whether you're planning on replacing your current boiler or building a new home, stop into the Pools showroom at 19 North Street in Waterville and see the System 2000 from Energy Kinetics. The System 2000 runs on oil or propane, can be converted between fuels with a simple converter change. It can save you up to 50% off your heating fuel costs. If you own an older boiler, help keep it running more efficiently with a cleaning and tune-up. And don't forget, when you need emergency service, call Hools 24-hour service department at 872-6762. Hools Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your System 2000 premier dealer.
This is Bill Green. Growing up in Maine, I've always been proud of our senators on both sides of the aisle. And I'm especially proud to know Susan Collins. In times of crisis, she's displayed courage and integrity, whether it was reforming our intelligence community after 9/11 or fighting the pandemic today. Susan is a problem solver. She's at the center of nearly every common sense solution that makes our government work better. And while Susan hasn't changed, politics sadly has. This year, Mainers have suffered through the most expensive negative campaign in our history, with $40 million being spent by out-of-state groups trying to buy our vote. We know, Susan, and we know what they're saying just isn't true. So don't let out-of-state bullies with big checkbooks buy Maine's Senate seat. This is Bill Green. I trust Susan Collins because she is from, of, and for the people of Maine, always.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy with a chance for showers this morning. A steadier rain moves in for this afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the low 60s today. Periods of heavy rain tonight into tomorrow morning. With some snow in the mountains. Rain starts to clear midday and early afternoon tomorrow, but it will be windy with highs just in the low 50s. Mostly sunny near 60 for Sunday.
Thank you, Lexi. Not a bad morning out there right now. Cloudy skies, but it's comfortable. We've got 57 in Skowhegan. It's 60 in Waterville, 60 degrees as well here in Augusta. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
His mediocre high school academic achievements have prepared him nicely for a career in radio.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
A pleasant good morning, 7:35. The Mike Violet Show in progress for this Thank Buddha. It's Friday. It's brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing. 861-7028, online, KennebecElectric.com. Live stream us, Legacy1160.com, powered by the Harry J. Smith Company. Facebook Live us, yeah, we do that. On the Legacy page, my personal page, and the John James page. That's brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. John James up next at 9 this morning with his Freedom Pep Rally as we continue with 6 hours of live local talk. And, of course, on Friday, we extend it to 7 hours of live local talk because it is Conserving the Maine Outdoors, coming up at noon today, brought to you by the Sportsman's Alliance of Maine.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously.
And boisterously, we introduce my co-host for Contact Sports every Friday morning right after the 7:30 news. That is Dean Scottress. Good morning, Dean.
Good morning. Good morning. Still the possibly the best lead-in all of radio right there.
The voice of John Facenda, who was once called the voice of God, the late, great John Facenda, of course, the voice of NFL films, and that great NFL films music. So how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well, very well. It's been a pretty exciting week. A lot to talk about for sure, both in sports and politics.
All right, so politics. Let's begin there. The debates didn't happen last night, although I did see a partial debate on NBC between the President of the United States and Savannah Guthrie.
Good Lord, it's insufferable, isn't it? I mean, then you go over to George Stephanopoulos, who I don't think he asked a single question, right? So I did flip back and forth a little bit. And, as I said on my Facebook page last night, I thought the president did quite a good job debating her. And it was also pretty apparent, I just refuse to believe that, I don't want to pigeonhole anybody, that somebody in the audience who's supposedly a middle-class, undecided voter is quoting from Bob Woodward's book.
I know.
It's crazy. Or that somebody else stood up and happened to know what top marginal tax rates for corporations.
I know. And then at the Biden debate, it was a town hall. You get some woman standing up who says she's the parent of a 8-year-old transgendered kid, and then Biden refers to his father 65 years ago to a situation where apparently 2 men were kissing, and old man Biden said they're in love. Get out of here.
Oh my God! Yeah, I just posted my morning rant or blog or whatever, and I'm just reminded of my father, who used to have one axiom for life, which was, "Do you have any common sense?" Right? And it doesn't require that you need any kind of intellectual sophistication or policy chops on all this stuff, but does it pass a certain smell test? And I think that's where you get into really truly what Trump is and why he appeals so much of America. He might not have great policy chops or the intellectual tact that they want him to, but he's got a good instinct and honed in common sense, right? Sometimes it doesn't come out really well, and it's a little like Paul LePage in Maine, right?
Yeah.
But it does appeal to those people who have sort of a gut level feeling for what the truth is on some of this stuff, right? So when Joe Biden says something like that, I mean, there's so much of America that just says, what is he talking about?
Yeah, they're cringing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you have to. So I thought, as you said, the president handled himself well. How can you not if you're Biden? You're being spoon-fed. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite ice cream? So forth and so on. It was a kiss fest. So, I don't know if any minds were changed, but I guess my question is, whose mind hasn't been made up? Do you know of any undecided voter?
I don't. I really don't. I think the bigger question is what is the measure of sort of the Trump voter who's afraid to say they're a Trump voter, right?
Yeah,
I mean, as we segue perhaps into our next subject about the school here locally, There is. I mean, part of my reason for going off Facebook is because the torches and pitchforks came out, and people were headhunting for people like me and you and others, and a lot of us have felt say intimidated or silenced. Kind of why I said, screw that, I'm joining the fight again. I'm gonna get as vocal as I can possibly be, because that's not how you should react. I think that's the bigger measure, Mike. And again, if you look at the numbers, they are mirroring where he was against Hillary. Yeah. Although some of them, I guess, I'm no poll savant, but I think that's the bigger unknown at this point. You're right. I don't think anybody is undecided. I think it's a matter of who wants to come out publicly and say they're going to support the president.
Yep, and there is some reticence to do that for sure. Dean Scontris is with me. It's Contact Sports. We do this every Friday after the 7:30 news. I mentioned this yesterday after you gave me the go-ahead to do so. You had a conversation with the principal of your daughter Zoe's high school, Independence High School. And first of all, tell us what precipitated you making a call to the principal.
Well, what precipitated was my daughter got a little upset, turned off her computer, ran up to her room, and in the middle of the day, I inquired, and my wife was sitting and heard what the subject matter was, and this was English class. Mm-hmm. So in English class, they had to watch a video of there was an event at Yale a couple of years ago where one of the professors, or the wife of a professor, had made a comment about pushing back on these students who thought that dressing up for Halloween and other cultural costumes was an offense, and the
cultural appropriation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like wearing a sombrero.
Exactly. So the professor said, I don't think it's a good idea. It wasn't, but the video they had to watch was about the students who were infuriated and pitchforks and torches and confronted the professor. Was vulgarity laced, and it was not hard to watch, but I was wondering, I'm like, why are we watching this in English class? Yeah. And then the other question they wanted to talk about was desecration of public statues, i.e., like Columbus, who have and I just said, okay, enough. So, I did. I put together an email to the principal and was subsequently, deferred to his English committee. And they offered me, a response, which I found completely unsatisfactory, which was something to the effect of they're trying to hone students' critical thinking skills, persuasive skills, objective skills. And I said, yeah, all well and good, but there is a world of good nonfiction out there, and I'll be more than happy to share some with you, where you can do that, where you're not simultaneously subjecting that student to possibly be a victim of cancel culture, right? I mean, if my daughter, who's a smart girl and likes to write and can put her thoughts together, says something, and somebody screenshots it, all of a sudden she's going to be put out there. So I thought they ran a tremendous risk by doing that. But more so, just academically, why is that in an English class, right? The worm continues to turn about this, and I'm not going to let my foot off the gas because, I kind of get what they're saying, but of all the subjects in all the world, why would you bring up the desecration of public statues and Christopher Columbus and cancel culture in an English class when there are so many, great books and works of art to do the same thing without, the divisiveness.
Well,
so, I'm gonna continue to press the gas pedal on that one.
Keep on, and while I'm sure your daughter, for her tender age, is very well schooled in English, you can never learn enough. So maybe they ought to just keep on concentrating on English and get away from, the illegal cultural appropriation crap.
Yeah, that was my response back yesterday when I was on the phone with him. I mean, I literally said that. I said to the woman, I said, I don't even think you believe what you're telling me is good or accurate or true. And I asked her, I said, when did you read 1984? There's a great work of art to use for these kids to talk about these things. 1984. And she told me, junior, senior. I said, perfect. So yeah, there's a problem in our public schools, and this wasn't the first episode we had, this year. And I'm sure I speak for a whole lot of Loudoun County residents when they're saying, well, what is going on? Because this is permeating our schools. So, and it even gets more circuitous with, there's been emails from the principal about, liberation theology, and those who oppose it within the school shall be, publicly shamed and chastised. So it's irony and irony, Mike.
Liberation theology?
Whatever it's called,
Wow.
critical race theory, or
Yeah.
And those staff members and teachers who oppose it will be, there'll be disciplinary action taken accordingly. So again, this whole thing is sort of warped, right? Here we are talking about cancel culture within one of our classes, yet the superintendent of schools is threatening to cancel some people if they were to, express their or exercise their right to free speech and free thought.
Have I mentioned lately how happy I am that my kids are older and out of public schools? Well, let me reiterate how happy I am.
Yeah.
But you know what? My son, my baby graduated in 2010, and I actually went through this right at the end of his time in high school. So, I think everybody who's had kids or has kids in public schools is going through it, whether it's where you live in suburban DC, here in Maine, even rural Maine schools, it's going on everywhere.
And it's not just in schools either. I mean, it's creeped into the workplace. It is everywhere, and that's the real concern. And that was my concern back, is that people like me, when I become afraid, and I usually think I say things and couch things, fairly reasonably, right? This is not just in schools. So yeah, I agree with you. You don't have children, but it's everywhere, Mike. I mean, you do it as a job, but there's a risk to making your politics known these days. And the first reaction was to sort of shy away from it, but I don't think that's the right reaction.
No, that's what they want. That's how they want us to react.
Sure.
That's the way it is. In this world of incredible bias and leftism that we are living in, it's all part of the playbook, and they are expecting us to be docile and quiet and not fight it because they're supposed to be right.
You're right. It is part of the playbook. It's absolutely part of the playbook. It always has been. Anybody who thinks this is a new technique, it's not. The left has always used a form of cancel culture. Sometimes, in the old days, it was not just canceling somebody from a occupation perspective or culturally. It was by a much harsher means. So this is not a new tactic, right? And the whole thing, the whole body of what I call the professional left is included. Either they're connected directly or they just operate by the same protocol.
That's the voice of Dean Scontris. He's with me every Friday for What We Do Together, which is called Contact Sports, where the worlds of sports and politics clash. They are both buckle up your chin strap kind of things. Let's segue over to sports. We just had the NBA season wrap up. Not many people really cared. The Lakers won the NBA championship. Social justice warrior LeBron James got a ring. The ratings were an all-time low. The NBA came out afterwards, Dean, and said, we're going to give up this social justice warrior stuff when the season begins again. But I think it's too late.
I think it's too late, too. Yeah, I think it's way too late. I don't know. Did you hear the Megyn Kelly interview with Mark Cuban?
I've heard parts of it.
Yeah. Equally as telling, right? So I think Cuban was being a bit of an apologist. He's a smart guy, and she's obviously a very smart woman. I think the level of hypocrisy, the multiple offenses it's too much. I was never a big NBA fan. I hadn't been since the third Mikhail Parrish days, but it was unwatchable because of it. Right? Again, I never want to suggest somebody doesn't have a right to speech, but when sports, which is generally a form of escape for most Americans, has become so infused with politics, it makes it completely unwatchable, and they're suffering the consequences. And the NFL is suffering the consequences for it too now as well. But I think that the greater argument there is all these the NBA and the cottage industries of Nike and the profit they've made off the back of China for so long, and given those great human right offenses in those countries, it's a glaring hypocrisy. And LeBron James got caught in that. I think it was earlier in the year, and Megyn Kelly did a fine job of catching Cuban in the same hypocrisy.
Yeah, she did. And of course, not only does Nike make billions off the human rights violations in China, so does the NBA. And of course, LeBron James, social justice warrior, you ask him about the human rights violations in China, it's like asking Joe Biden about Hunter. He's going to get some kind of defensive.
I'll go one step further on that. Not only do they make the shoe for, nickels or pennies on the dollar, then they turn around and sell it to inner city kids in Chicago and New York for
killing each other
an
for
astronomical markup.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And you're getting to objective thought and this kind of stuff again. It's like, the level of hypocrisy is it's alarming.
And of course, it doesn't appear clear, or it does appear clear to the mainstream media, as Rush calls them, the drive-by media. They just choose, like they do everything else, like the Biden story or whatever, to ignore it and not bring it up. The sports media is the very same way, Dean. Other than like Clay Travis from Outkick and Jason Whitlock and a few others here and there, there's no conservative representation in the sports media world.
No, there's not. And the sports media world has become almost completely unwatchable as a result of it. I don't even turn on ESPN anymore. It's it's become unwatchable, and that's sad because people like me and people like you, it's so much part of our lifeblood, who we are, how we grew up, what we want to participate in, and I still watch the NFL despite my wife's opposition to it because I love it. I love the sport, and I still hold out some hope that maybe some level of objectivity will set in, and they'll say, you know what, this was not a good idea.
All right. So are you a true, legitimate Tom Brady lover, or are you the greatest Tom Brady troll of all time? Or both?
I think it's probably falls somewhere in between. Of course, as the youngest of 7 with 5 brothers, I get no greater thrill than poking fun. And I get no greater thrill than poking fun at good friends, sort of. Yeah, you have to do it. So, and Tom Brady was a perfect device for that for so long. But I guess candidly, I got to say, I've got nothing but the greatest respect for him as a football player and a father, a person, husband, all that stuff. I do think he tends towards the wacky every once in a while, but that's okay. You can deal with it. There's much. There's greater, more unsavory characters.
Oh, no question. But I do have to say, maybe it's because I put my athletes in a category when they leave my team where they're dead to me. I have to say it's been difficult to put Brady there. But I do also have to say that I can see now far easier, I think more objectively, why people at times got a little nauseous with Tom Brady, because he does act like a whiny little baby sometimes.
And what's funny is a couple things. One, growing up, the only team I had like a complete 100% loyalty to was the Boston Celtics. I was kind of, I never really, I was never, so that being said, but I did like Drew Bledsoe, and in that episode was the way it ended. I just felt, I thought Bledsoe was graceful. I thought
he was,
Brady was not. I think he tried to be, but I thought it was really kind of crummy at the time. I think that's probably where all my earliest impressions, of course, how he exited his previous relationship with, with what's her name, but that aside, it was like, that was kind of like, for me, I thought, I didn't like the way he handled that. It was a little bit of, I thought, in your face. Now I know most people don't, but that was when I first saw that little whiny quality. And of course it comes out over the course of time when he doesn't get the call he wanted. It came out last week when he was screaming. I saw it afterwards. I didn't see the second half. He's screaming at the ref, but he does have that whiny, pouty quality.
You, in recent years, I know until a few years ago, had season tickets, you and your son, to the former Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team. I know obviously nobody's going to the games. So what's the perception of that Washington football team now?
Boy, I'll tell you, it is, it's been declining now for the better part. I think, the last hopeful season was the Cousins season where they made it to the playoffs, right? But it's been in a state of decline, and going to the stadium, it's sad, right? Because it was once a very proud franchise with a very proud tradition. They look back into the when it was RFK and the rivalry with the Cowboys, and anybody who was here or had any knowledge of that, you always want that. I mean, it's kind of like listening to that voice at the beginning of our broadcast here. It's like, boy, those were the glory days, and everybody wants them to come back. And I think up until recently, there was still, like anybody, being a Cubs fan or whatever, there was always that hope, and it always sprung eternal. There is no more hope, right? It is every time you think it hits a low, there's a new low. Now Haskins is, calling in sick every day, and we've got another quarterback controversy. It looks a lot like the RG3 thing. So, yeah, it's inexplicable. I mean, I have never, again, I live here now. I've always kind of liked them, and of course, as my son has gotten into it, I've really developed you want them to win because you want him to experience that. But I will say, I think it's probably reached the depth of any professional sports franchise ever. And every time I don't think you can hit a new low, it does.
Yeah, it's too bad you can't trade the owner, because you definitely need a new owner there in D.C. Snyder is such a knucklehead. Dean, we're out of time, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it as always. We'll see you next week.
Take care, bye.
All right, Dean Scotras, Contact Sports, where the worlds of sports and politics come together as one. 7:56. We will go all sports next hour with the sitting and standing Maine Sports Writer of the Year, Travis Lesarczyk from the Sentinel and KJ. Up next, I'm Mike Violet on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Wouldn't you love to have a gas stove or fireplace in your home? Let Somerset Stone & Stove in Oakland design and install a Regency gas stove or fireplace that's right for you. They'll customize your Regency gas stove or fireplace so you can enjoy the beauty and warmth without the hassle. And don't forget, they also offer financing options on all Regency gas stoves and fireplaces. Somerset Stone & Stove, 1078 Kennedy Memorial Drive in Oakland. Online at somersetstoneandstove.com.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You want to get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
How do you think things in Washington are going these days? No, it's not a trick question. What do you really think? As Washington has failed, Speaker of the House Sarah Gideon has helped bring Democrats and Republicans together to protect Maine people. When Washington threatened to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Sarah Gideon successfully fought to make sure 230,000 Mainers with pre-existing conditions would not lose their coverage. When Washington failed to control skyrocketing prescription drug costs, in Maine, Sarah Gideon cracked down on companies who jacked up prices. And when Washington passed trillion-dollar tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on middle-class families, Sarah Gideon wrote the first direct property tax relief bill to pass in years, working together to get things done for Mainers. That's what Sarah Gideon's always done, and that's what she'll do in the Senate.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
Feeling cooped up? Tired of looking at the same old stuff day after day? Now that we can finally get out and do a little shopping, why not head over to Townline Antiques? At Townline Antiques, there's 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and a lot more. Get away from it all with a look to the past. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
And Sarah Gideon for Senator Radio. Take one.
As a lifelong Mainer, I make it
Cut. Sarah, you were born in Rhode Island, so let's try take 2, okay?
I'm Sarah Gideon, and I don't take corporate money.
Cut. Sarah, the research team says you did take corporate money, even though you tell us you don't. Let's keep going. Take 3.
I'm Sarah Gideon, and on taxes...
Cut. Let's not go there. Sarah, you've tried 86 times to raise taxes and fees on everything from health care to heating oil to snowmobiles. So let's just move on to take 4.
I'm working every day to...
Cut. You sent the legislature home 6 months ago and haven't done anything since then.
They don't need to know that.
Shut it down. Sarah, let's just toss this thing to someone who actually never stops working for Maine.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
Oh, beautiful, our heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refined, till all success be nobleness, and ever again divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing something like this. Listen here. Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He gave me crown not good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this. America, I love you, America. You see, my God, he done shed his face on thee. You ought to love him for it, because he crowned that good. He told me he would. Every brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, Lord, I thank you, Lord.
ABC News, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Dueling town halls, Joe Biden in Philadelphia and President Trump in Miami, discussing the pandemic, healthcare, and even his own battle against COVID-19. ABC's Rachel Scott was there in Miami.
The president was forced to confront key questions about his health, whether or not he tested negative on that debate day. It is a lingering question. One, the president even said that he could not even remember or could not even recall whether or not he was tested for coronavirus on the day of the debate.
Meanwhile, Biden's still not giving a clear answer on whether he would try to expand the Supreme Court. It's the first day of early in-person voting in Louisiana. Long lines expected at polling stations. With the pandemic now in its 10th month, cases of coronavirus are spiking in record numbers instead of decreasing. The virus has killed more than 217,000 Americans, and nearly 8 million have been infected. And the pace of new infections shows no signs of slowing down. And the 2020 census count officially ended at midnight. This is ABC News. 5 of the men facing federal charges in the alleged plot to kidnap Michigan's governor are expected back in court today, and another man has also now been arrested on new state charges in the plot. A total of 14 people now facing state or federal charges. The Senate Judiciary Committee is planning to subpoena the head of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. Republicans on the committee have questions about Twitter blocking links to recent New York Post articles making new allegations about the son of Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. And a wayward lemur that vanished from the San Francisco Zoo is now safe, thanks to the sharp eye of a 5-year-old.
White, black, and white. I like the way they look.
That's James Trin. He spotted the ringtail lemur at day school in Daly City. Teacher Sarah Riggs.
He was hopping around the play structures, but ultimately, while he was waiting to be picked up, was hiding in one of the plastic playhouses.
San Francisco police are investigating the disappearance of the endangered lemur as a burglary. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Care. Whether it's your business or your family's health, the more care you put in, the better it will be. United Healthcare knows the difference care can make. It's why we offer plans that support your physical and mental health. And it's why we connect you to care whenever you need it with 24/7 virtual care. Because like you, United Healthcare knows what care can do. United Healthcare. Plan benefits may vary.
Good morning, I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Central Maine colleges say coronavirus testing efforts are working. Officials from Thomas College and Colby College and UMaine at Farmington have reported low numbers of infections. They also say students and staff are cooperating as they continue testing. Thomas College reports it's done more than 3,500 tests since August, and they've all come back negative. Colby College said out of 47,000 tests, 11 have been positive. A coronavirus outbreak at an L.L. Bean facility is growing. The Maine CDC says it found 10 more cases at the distribution center in Freeport, bringing the total number of known cases so far to 17. The CDC also says there's a new outbreak of 4 cases at the Summer Commons construction site in Sanford. The Maine CDC is also reporting another death, a woman in her 90s from York County. She's the 144th person to die from the virus in Maine. There are also 20 new known cases. 464 people have recovered from the virus, and more than 5,000 people have recovered. Happening today in Norway, a meal giveaway at the Oxford Hills Food Pantry. Meals with food from local farms, gardens, and co-ops will all be given out from 9 to 11 a.m. on Paris Street in Norway. And in sports, a welcome sight at Gillette Stadium yesterday. Patriots players Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore were both back at practice after spending time on the COVID-19 reserve list. Both are healthy and ready to play Sunday when the Patriots host Denver at 1 p.m. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show. Take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
So what did State House Speaker, millionaire Sarah Gideon, do when the coronavirus hit Maine? Here's Maine State Senator Brad Farron, who served with Gideon in the legislature.
Sarah Gideon shut down the legislature back in mid-March, and since then she's been absent from the job. She's more concerned about her campaign efforts than dealing with the issues that regular Mainers face every day. She's been out campaigning while Mainers are left with uncertainties with the pandemic, with child care, with schools opening up. I represent one of the poorest districts in the state of Maine. Sarah Gideon took an oath to help Mainers, and since the pandemic hit, she's been missing in action and has not lived up to that oath.
When the coronavirus hit, Sarah Gideon closed the legislature and became a full-time campaigner, while their husband grabbed $1 million in federal coronavirus funds. Gideon cares about herself, not you. Say no to out-of-touch millionaire Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy with a chance for showers this morning. A steadier rain moves in for this afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the low 60s today. Periods of heavy rain tonight into tomorrow morning. With some snow in the mountains. Rain starts to clear midday and early afternoon tomorrow, but it will be windy with highs just in the low 50s. Mostly sunny near 60 for Sunday.
Thank you, Lexi. Not a bad morning out there right now without the rain. We have clouds. It's warm. 60 degrees in Skowhegan, 61 in Waterville, 61 degrees as well in Augusta. You are up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
In a state where common sense is a lost art, he's basically your father.
Didn't crawl out from under no rocks. We didn't have no tails. We didn't come from monkeys who atheistic pinko meat.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Good morning. It's 8:11 on a Thank Buddha. It's Friday. It is Friday, October 16th, 2020. I'm Mike Violet. The show brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting, 861-7028. Online at KennebecElectric.com. You can stream the show live. Go to Legacy1160.com. Click on the Listen Live button. That's powered by the Harry J. Smith Company, Sanger Avenue in Waterville. And you can see us on Facebook and listen to us on Facebook Live as well. Facebook.com/Legacy1160 WSKW or the John James page or my page, brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. John will be here at 9. Freedom Pep Rally runs, as it always does, every weekday. Continuing 6 hours of live local talk from 9 until noon. Today, a 7th hour, the extended dance mix version of Legacy 1160 WSKW on Friday. It is Conserving the Maine Outdoors, the Sportsman's Alliance of Maine, bringing you that with David Trahan and Mike Shaw coming up at noon. Right now, we go to the Toy Department of Life on a Thank Buddha. It's Friday. He's the sitting and standing Maine Sports Writer of the Year. He is our friend Travis Lesargic. Good morning, Mr. Lesargic.
Good morning, Mike. I have to start with some disturbing news I just saw on the Twitter.
What?
Coca-Cola is discontinuing Tab.
Oh.
Which is disturbing because I didn't know there were still people out there drinking Tab.
No, that's true. Tab, I have an affinity for Tab, and I will tell you why. You want to hear my Tab story? I know you do. So,
well, now I have to.
1980. I'm about a year and a half out of high school. I have gotten heavier. All right. I have gotten close to about 3 bills, and I decided that I was going to take some weight off, and I decided I was going to change my dietary habits, and I was going to get active. So I started to run, and I also gave up Coca-Cola and started drinking Tab by the 6-pack. I mean, I was drinking 6 packs of Tab a day because back in 1980, Travis, this is when you were just a child, there weren't many diet drinks to choose from. It was either water or Tab. So Tab became my friend. So this is quite a sad day, and I'm kind of sorry to hear this.
It always tasted like soda filtered through an ashtray to me. But
yeah, looking back on it now, we're not losing much, but I do have an affinity for it. But I certainly appreciate it being brought up, and certainly we take our hats off, put our hands across our heart, and we mourn the passing of the Coca-Cola product called Tab.
Yeah, go stock up, you Tab aficionado.
Yes, if you have an affinity for Tab, I would go on Amazon and buy all the freaking Tab that you can.
Black market Tab.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see Kramer right now with a van, back door open, selling Tab.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to the world of sports. And I saw that you went and covered the Battle of the Bridge flag football style. Waterville and Winslow playing flag football.
Yeah, round 2. They played over at Waterville Drummond Field a few weeks ago. Waterville getting the win. Yesterday, Winslow even the score.
So home field advantage was huge, huh?
certainly seems that way.
So the pictures that I saw look like a pretty spiritedly played. Is that a word? Pretty spiritedly played game, was it?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment of it. That's how every 7-on-7 flag football game I've seen this fall has been spiritedly played. You can't take the competitiveness out of teenagers once they're on the field, whether it's, soccer, field hockey, whatever. Now, that's the case with 7-on-7 flag football too.
Yeah, I have not seen any of the flag football, but I've done some soccer games, and I have not seen any change in the competitive nature of the kids, the spiritedness, if you will, of the kids. I did the Winslow girls, Erskine Academy girls soccer game the other day, and they went at it real hard.
Yeah, and they should. This is what's keeping a lot of them from kind of losing their minds through all this.
Yeah, but it was kind of weird to be there and be inside the chain-linked fence, and yet there were so many people so far away who couldn't see that well. You've got a story in the paper as well, a column actually, about the parents of high school athletes who find themselves literally on the outside looking in. Who'd you talk to and what'd you find out?
I talked to a parent from each team, a Winslow mom and a Waterville mom, and they get it. They know it's not about them. It's never been about the parents when it comes to high school sports, as much as some would, like to make it about themselves. But especially this year when we're all doing everything we can just to get some semblance of a season. So the two women I spoke to were happy to kind of stand against the fence on the outside and cheer on their sons and their sons' team.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like. I did speak to a parent from Erskine Academy the other day because I had messaged her to tell her that we were going to be doing the game, and she was delighted because, as she said, we aren't not allowed to go as a road team. We can't go to the games.
Yeah, one of the moms I spoke to, the Waterville mom, said that, even the streaming is kind of everyone's learning on the fly. So you have, in the case when Waterville played at MCI for a 7-on-7 football game, a bus driver who had never done it before doing his best to hold up the phone or the camera, whatever they gave him, and stream it to Facebook Live. And there's some kinks to work out. Obviously, everyone's just kind of making do.
Yeah, and I guess that's all you can do here. As we look ahead, I know you guys had a story. Mike Lowe actually had the story in the Press Herald about the MPA and state officials beginning to look ahead, or beginning talks anyway. I'm sure they've already been looking ahead. At least I hope so. On a winter sports season, and the guidelines for the high school sports that could be used this winter are going to be talked about in a meeting today.
That's correct.
Okay. What do you know? I know it's not your story, but what do you know?
I know that Mike Burnham and the folks at the MPA are going to be meeting with, I'm not sure if it's going to be Governor Mills herself, but people from her office and her departments, and try to hash this out. They all know that they really just mangled the way it went about in the fall. I think they've admitted such, and they're hoping to avoid the confusion that came with, all right, who's making this decision? The MPA is going to make a decision. Well, no, they can't make the decision. So we all know it was just a complete disaster from start to finish here and trying to figure out the fall season. So they're trying to avoid that and get ahead of it. I don't know what will come of this. I'm really skeptical myself that we'll have a winter season, but we'll see.
Yeah, the sports are different, and that is something we need to take into consideration, through the process. But I mean, I haven't seen a flag football game, but I've seen the pictures that were accompanying your story in the paper. That's pretty up close and personal there.
Oh yeah, they get right at it, and you can't grab a guy's flag to tackle him as you were without making contact. So, is it tackle football? No, but it's not no contact. To think there's no contact is just foolish. That's not the way it is.
Again,
I've seen pictures in Vermont where they're also doing 7-on-7 flag football, and they're wearing helmets.
Yeah, but I just can't understand how you can allow this to happen. And believe me, I think we should be playing tackle football. That's we've beaten that to death. But in nearby New Hampshire, they are. But if the pictures that are in your story, accompanying your story, are any indication of how it's going all over the place, how can you subsidize that and not allow kids to play high school basketball? Because it looks to me like there might even be less contact in high school basketball.
the difference is that basketball is played indoors. Flag football is played outside. That's the big thing.
Yeah, and I guess the same rules apply for hockey.
Yeah,
it's
and wrestling and everything but Nordic skiing and alpine skiing.
we are down to a precious few outdoor high school sports here in Maine. So, if you're gonna, try to get high school sports in, but the prerequisite is they can't be inside, then we're done. We don't even need
a non-starter.
Yeah, we don't even need to have the conversation. Have any other states that you know of, and again, I don't know what you've looked into here, who might have the same COVID numbers as us, made a call yet on winter sports?
I haven't heard. The only state that off the top of my head is comparable to Maine as far as numbers is Vermont, in terms of, population percentage and that kind of thing. And I haven't heard anything that they're doing. I did hear yesterday that I think Connecticut has approved a schedule, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've approved it going ahead. They just said, if we do play, here's what, here's your schedule.
Yeah. What impact, if any, do you know about is the hockey referee with COVID in Biddeford having on any of this?
Oh, well, it's shut down the fall hockey league for sure for now. There's been some outbreaks, I guess, in other states that they've traced back to hockey, whether it's youth or adult men's leagues, things like that. The big concern for hockey, I think, in the winter and indoor track and field as well, is the use of facilities on colleges, which looks like it's not going to happen.
Right.
Talking to the athletic directors at the NESTAC schools, Colby Bates and Bowdoin, they're not going to let people onto their campuses anytime soon to use facilities. And I imagine the same is going to be at schools like the University of Southern Maine and University of New England and UMaine and all these other places that have the rinks, that have the indoor track. There's not an indoor track in the state that's not a college facility. So I think without those facilities open, those sports are also non-starters.
That's Travis Lesargic from the Sentinel and the Kennebec Journal. We're talking sports. We do every Friday here. Every Thank Buddha. It's Friday. We go to the toy department of life, and although it's pretty serious these days, we try to be as less serious as possible. So here we are, Travis, on October 16th, when we'd normally sort of be revving up for playoff action in field hockey and soccer and football. Instead, we're beginning to, we're a couple of weeks away from winding it all down. And we'd also have winter sports coaches be prepping for their seasons. Talk about being in a black hole, not knowing what's going on. They're all there.
Yeah, everyone's kind of just waiting and seeing. I've talked to a few ADs that are getting ready to kind of ramp down the fall season they've had, just because although the MPA has said, hey, you have till mid-November, a lot of people when we're out there in the playoffs or something, that's fine. But with snow coming and things, we're trying to get, these 10 games that we're allowed to play, or, 12 games, whatever it is, in by the end of October.
Yeah, and generally, other than a day or two here and there, the weather's been good, so they've been able to get these games in. And I know Skowhegan had a little bit of an issue last week. They canceled a couple of games. Been a few other schools with some cancellations because of COVID, but generally the games have been played, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we've had the typical weather delays and postponements, and I imagine we'll have some of those today and tomorrow.
Right.
It's funny, I was talking when I was covering the Mountain Valley Conference golf tournament a week ago Monday at Natanis. One of the players walked by me and just commented, like, this is the nicest weather we've ever had at this, because it's typically late October, early November when they have these conference and state golf matches. And, that's been played in sleet and spitting snow and things like that. This was a sunny day around 60 degrees.
Yep. It felt good, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. They're like, I've never played a conference match with this nice weather before. They didn't quite know how to handle it.
All right, we're going pro after the break. He's Travis Lesargic of the Sentinel and KJ. We'll talk about the Patriots, the baseball playoffs, the cheating Astros are getting their mojo back. Can the Tampa Bay Rays hold them off? And playoff Mookie Betts is different than regular season Mookie Betts, and the same thing for Clayton Kershaw. Talk to Travis about it and preview the NFL weekend. The Patriots will have Cam Newton back at quarterback. That is all on the way. It's a Thank Buddha. It's Friday. We're talking sports with Travis Lesargic on the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
road to the White House. It was a night of dueling town hall style events. On ABC, Joe Biden talking about what it would say if he lost on November 3rd.
Could say I'm a lousy candidate and I didn't do a good job. But I hope that it doesn't say that we are as racially, ethnically, and religiously at odds with one another as it appears the president wants us to be.
The president was on NBC, where host Savannah Guthrie challenged him on not replacing the Affordable Care Act when the Republicans had majorities in both houses of Congress.
The promise was repeal and replace.
Look, we should be on the same side. I want it very simple. I'm going to put it very simple. We would like to terminate it, and we would like to replace it with something that's much less expensive and much better. We will always protect people with pre-existing conditions.
The Trump campaign reports $250 million cash on hand heading into the final weeks, $180 million less than Biden. Richard Cantu, ABC News.
Hi, this is Kim, Scott Searway's daughter. I am so proud of my dad. He has spent his whole life working on behalf of others, stepping up to help people in any way he can. During his law enforcement career and his time in the legislature, he has always worked to build a stronger community, going out of his way to figure out how he can provide people with a hand up to improve their lives. He is a dedicated family man, a community member, and just who we need representing us in the state Senate.
Thank you, Kim. I'm running for re-election this year so I can keep working hard for all of you in this community I care so much about. Having spent nearly 3 decades in law enforcement, keeping our communities safe and supporting our first responders are among my top priorities. I know COVID-19 has impacted all of us, and I'm committed to reviving Maine jobs and livelihoods. I'm Senator Scott Searway, and it would be an honor to have your vote this year.
Paid for and authorized by COA for Senate, Allen Rowe Treasurer.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
911, what's your emergency?
I think we're going to need a fire truck over here.
Is something burning, sir?
Yeah, it's Susan Collins. She and her allies have told so many lies about Sarah Gideon, some of us think their pants might combust. You know, liar, liar.
Pants on fire. Yes, good thing you called. Can you see any flames?
Well, right now it's just a whole lot of smoke Susan Collins is using to cover up her record on taxes. She was the key vote to pass Donald Trump's tax plan, you know?
I do remember that.
Yep, Collins gave billions in tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on Maine families.
Any idea why she did that?
Yeah, maybe because the corporate PACs gave her $6 million?
Okay, stand by. I'm contacting dispatch.
They better hurry. Susan Collins' lies are out of control.
Susan Collins, she's not for you anymore.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine Votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine Votes today. Paid for by AARP.
Hi,
Hi, it's Joey Joseph from Colebrook Mitsubishi in Skowhegan. While other dealers are just scrambling around trying to drop their prices, increase their services, or offer you more money for your trade-in, Colebrook Mitsubishi has been doing that from day one. And that's precisely how we become the #1 Mitsubishi dealer in all of New England. Whether you've been dreaming of driving a new Mitsubishi Outlander, Eclipse Cross, Outlander Sport, or Mirage, we know that you won't find anyone better to help you out. And don't forget our new Mitsubishis come with the industry's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. See us for details. If you've had credit mishaps, come see us and find out how we can help. Everyone deserves a second chance with a nicer, newer ride. Why not choose a small-town dealer with friendly folks to do business with? Small-town dealer with big-time discounts. We wish everyone good health and happiness. You can shop at our facility or online at ColebrookMitsubishi.com with great confidence. Colebrook Mitsubishi, Route 201 in Skowhegan.
Good morning. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Central Maine colleges say coronavirus testing efforts are working. Officials from Thomas College and Colby College and UMaine at Farmington have reported low numbers of infections. They also say students and staff are cooperating as they continue testing. Thomas College reports it's done more than 3,500 tests since August, and they've all come back negative. Colby College said out of 47,000 tests, 11 have been positive. A coronavirus outbreak at an L.L. Bean facility is growing. The Maine CDC says it found 10 more cases at the distribution center in Freeport, bringing the total number of known cases so far to 17. The CDC also says there's a new outbreak of 4 cases at the Summer Commons construction site in Sanford. The Maine CDC is also reporting another death, a woman in her 90s from York County. She's the 144th person to die from the virus in Maine. There are also 20 new known cases. 464 people have recovered from the virus, and more than 5,000 people have recovered. Happening today in Norway, a meal giveaway at the Oxford Hills Food Pantry. Meals with food from local farms, gardens, and co-ops will all be given out from 9 to 11 a.m. on Paris Street in Norway. And in sports, a welcome sight at Gillette Stadium yesterday. Patriots players Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore were both back at practice after spending time on the COVID-19 reserve list. Both are healthy and ready to play Sunday when the Patriots host Denver at 1 p.m. I'm CBS 13's John Chrysos on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
I want to tell you about the incredible items you'll find at Town Line Antiques, but there's no match for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home a little something to decorate a room with style. Add to your collection or share wonderful memories of your past with family and friends. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
In 2013, we opened the Portland Hutton Alpine Club.
We're a small bar and restaurant. We have a dozen employees.
When the pandemic forced us to close, we went from being open 7 days a week to literally one day making nothing and dealing with months of having zero revenue for our business at all. We needed a PPP small business loan to keep our employees and just to keep our business.
We feel the responsibility of a dozen employees' livelihoods, their food, their shelter, their families. But Susan Collins wrote a loophole to let corporate chains take the small business loan. And Mitch McConnell included it in the law.
Big corporate chains scarfed up the money before most small businesses like ours had a chance. We feel totally abandoned by her.
They were supposed to be looking out for us.
Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell were just looking out for their big corporate donors and not Mainers.
Change Now is responsible for the content of this ad, paid for by Change Now. Make changenow.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
And Sarah Gideon for Senator Radio. Take one.
As a lifelong Mainer, I make it
Cut. Sarah, you were born in Rhode Island, so let's try take 2, okay?
I'm Sarah Gideon, and I don't take corporate money.
Cut. Sarah, the research team says you did take corporate money, even though you tell us you don't. Let's keep going. Take 3.
I'm Sarah Gideon, and on taxes...
Cut. Let's not go there. Sarah, you've tried 86 times to raise taxes and fees on everything from health care to heating oil to snowmobiles. So let's just move on to take 4.
I'm working every day to...
Cut. You sent the legislature home 6 months ago and haven't done anything since then.
They don't need to know that.
Shut it down. Sarah, let's just toss this thing to someone who actually never stops working for Maine.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
By Collins for Senator.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy with a chance for showers this morning. A steadier rain moves in for this afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the low 60s today. Periods of heavy rain tonight into tomorrow morning. With some snow in the mountains. Rain starts to clear midday and early afternoon tomorrow, but it will be windy with highs just in the low 50s. Mostly sunny near 60 for Sunday.
Okay, thanks very much, Lexi. Still hanging right around 60 degrees. 60 in Skowhegan with clouds. 61 in Waterville. 61 in clouds here in Augusta. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
It's like your father is on the radio every day.
When I was 17, I drank some very good beer. I drank some very good beer I purchased with a fake ID. My name was Brian McKee.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Good morning, 8:36. Thank Buddha. It's Friday edition of the program. In progress, October 16th, 2020. Show's brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Stream us live, legacy1160.com, powered by the Harry J. Smith Company. Facebook Live, my page, John James page, Legacy page. All brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. John James, speaking of the conductor of the Freedom Pep Rally, he'll be here in 24 short minutes to continue 6 hours of live local talk. And, of course, today we'll do Conserving the Maine Outdoors, Sportsman's Alliance of Maine. David Trahan, Mike Shaw will be here coming up after high noon today. Travis Lesargic, the Maine Sports Writer of the Year from the Kennebec Journal and the KJ, is here. And, Travis, are the Houston Astros, is it better for us who hate them to have the Astros lose this American League Championship Series in bitter fashion, or go to the World Series and lose there? What's your call?
I was really hoping the Rays would sweep them.
Yeah, me too.
The Rays are kind of making it a little too close for my comfort.
Yeah, a sweep would have been like the epitome of rubbing their nose right in it.
Yeah, I just can't get behind the Astros advancing any farther than they already have. I just can't support that at all. Can't abide it, Mike.
And they are not exactly sorry about what it. I mean, they're talking about getting revenge. I mean, it's like, hey, you guys were the criminals here, not the victims of the crime.
Yeah, they're sorry they got caught. That's the big thing,
right?
And, I just can't stand that they're still playing.
Yeah,
There's not a likable guy on the team.
No, they
used to be, and then we found out it was all a sham, and now just hopefully the Rays finish them off tonight.
Well, yeah, we've been saying that for a couple of days now. It is 3-2, and you get your pitching staff turned over, and I think at this point anybody and everybody's got to be pretty much available, especially for the Astros. And frankly, if you're Kevin Cash, I think you need to throw the kitchen sink out there as well. But they haven't hit the Rays the last couple of nights. That obviously has hurt them because they've certainly got plenty of pitching.
Yeah, they need to just find that offense that they had the first three games, and the offense that they had for the most part against the Yankees, although that series was probably won more by the pitching staff as well.
Yeah. Travis Lesargic with me every Friday here during the 8 o'clock hour as we talk sports. Meantime, the Los Angeles Dodgers, after getting Mookie Betts, David Price opted out, but still, even with that, the Dodgers, the prohibitive favorite, they rolled through the regular season. They had by far the best record in baseball. They rolled through the playoffs. They beat the San Diego Padres, who were pretty good. They dispatched them easily, but the old ghosts have reared their heads again. Namely, Clayton Kershaw can't get anybody out in the postseason again, and playoff Mookie Betts is different than regular season Mookie Betts. It's kind of the absolute opposite of playoff Rajon Rondo and regular season Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, I can't figure out why some guys just, mentally can't do it when the playoff pressure comes on, and some guys can. I mean, David Ortiz turned into Dominican Yaz every October, and but he was a superstar. You kind of expected to do that when the bright lights were on him. And now I'm trying to think of other guys who came up big in the playoffs for the Red Sox over the years that were solid in the regular season. Guys like Bill Miller always seemed to get better in the playoffs. Mark Bellhorn, for crying out loud.
I know.
Used to come up with big hits in the playoffs.
Johnny Gomes, going
Johnny
back to 13.
Gomes was, Shane Victorino
Yep.
had that grand slam. I don't know what it is in Mookie's mental makeup, because he's certainly, shown mental toughness in every other aspect.
Oh, absolutely.
Great. And in 18, he didn't have an awful World Series, if I recall. I know he had a big home run in the clinching game.
Yeah, he was mediocre, certainly hitting. I mean, Mookie obviously always is going to bring top-shelf defense, top-shelf base running, and top-shelf baseball acumen to the game, but he didn't hit well. There have been players. I mean, Ted Williams was in one World Series. He hit 200, but in his defense, he basically played that World Series with a broken elbow because he'd gotten hit in the elbow in an exhibition game that the Red Sox played a tune-up. So he played in one, and he hit 200. There have been other great players who have not performed well, and maybe it's because the spotlight is on them to do so. I mean, Ortiz seems to be the exception as opposed to the rule, and you get more guys like Johnny Gomes and a Shane Victorino and guys like that stepping up who don't have the spotlight on them all the time.
Yeah, and it's always a smaller sample size in the playoffs too. So it's tough to say, all right, he did this in 6 or 7 games, when you're looking at you could take any 6 or 7 game stretch over the regular season and probably find the exact same kind of slump. But I don't know.
And, obviously with the Dodgers on the cusp of getting knocked out here, and look, the Braves are good. This is not some fluke. Atlanta's really good. They have a great lineup. They have very good pitching. They're really a solid baseball team all the way around. But as you analyze this thing, and I was thinking about this on my way in this morning, and just thinking about what we're going to talk about, the Dodgers do everything every year. That they bring in new guys. They go get Betts and David Price. They've signed Joe Kelly. They develop their minor league system is fantastic. They, unlike the Red Sox, develop really good young pitchers. So here they are. They've risen to this level where for 4 or 5 years now, they have been as good a regular season team as they can be. So you look at what's the common thread as they lose all of these. And we all love Dave Roberts to death here in New England. He'll never have to buy a drink or dinner anywhere. I'll pay for it for sure. But I think the Dodgers have to get to a point where they have to look at the manager.
Yeah, maybe they do. It's been 8 consecutive division championships.
Yeah, it's all they do is win the division.
World Series. So something's got to change. Maybe it's Dave Roberts. I don't know, but maybe that says more about how weak the NL West has been over those 8 years than how good the Dodgers have actually been.
Well, I know, but you play the schedule. We know that, and the schedule's there. They've run roughshod over it. They dominate in the regular season, but man, it's like their the rear ends get tight in the playoffs, and specifically Roberts's get that way, and the team seems to play very tight. I mean, aside from that 11-run inning the other day in the first inning, they haven't hit. And Kershaw, I don't know if he squeezes the ball too hard in the playoffs or what, but he simply cannot perform. This is not an aberration. This is him virtually every time out.
Yeah, it starts